that came by Skype icon.
You lie.
We are live. Hey, Jay. Good morning or evening, whatever.
Morning, Sean. Yeah, I'm 3 hours southeast of you, so we're in the same time frame.
Yes, we are. Absolutely.
Yeah, Joe's the one who's lagging behind.
I know. He's always an hour behind. He's always behind.
Uh-huh. Yeah, we're running a little bit late tonight, too, so.
I know. That's okay.
Hope Michelle doesn't get mad at him.
So, what you been up to, Jay?
Been working a lot. So my new job, they don't work with me as good as my last job on getting off for Fridays to do the show. So haven't been on the last couple Fridays, but I get on when I can. And
Whoa, you breaking up, man. You on slow mo.
Just on Church of Maybe, which we just had a guy, Will Murray. He was interviewed for the new Skinwalker Ranch show, but they cut his segment.
Oh, wow. Well, with me, you know that Chasing Prophecy is no longer. We kind of like, disinherited that. But, Jenny's a good girl. I had a lot of fun. In fact, if it wasn't for her, I wouldn't have gotten to see Joe. And, it like opened up a whole new world for me. What I liked about it is that it finally got me to my show on Tuesday nights, Into the Night with Sean Kelly. We're from on 8 p.m. to 10 p.m. We talk a lot about the paranormal. We basically talk, anything, to be honest with you. Most of the time, well, lately, with all the crap going on in the world, all the shit happening, it's just like
a lot to talk about.
Oh my God, yeah. Hey, Sean, what's up? This is Sean G. How you doing, Sean? And so there are times like the last 2 or 3 weeks, we'll start our show and me and Tara will go through our show and do what we talk about. And then I give myself about a half hour to rant, you know what I mean? But I have a story about that. Was it 3 weeks ago? I ranted. Okay, because I just had enough of the bullshit that was going on out there in the world. And so I really let loose, I'm not the type of person to go and go off on things, but this night I did. And what happened was 2:30 in the morning, my brother goes out of his bed, runs down the stairs, runs outside. There were 4 cops. Okay. 4 cops. Like, here's my house. There was 2 cops across the street, 2 cops in my back alley. I'm like, oh, I didn't know this until the following day, right? Because I was in bed and I'm thinking, holy shit, it's like, damn, they're listening. You know what I mean? So it's like when I step outside to go to work in the morning, I'm waiting for the FBI to raid my ass. You know what I mean? But that's about it. I just hate what the hell's going on in the United States today. I really do. It just really drives me to the point where I just want to pull my hair out. And I get mad at people. Yeah, I see that. Well, you can't.
Yeah. I'm a little far advanced on you there.
Yes, you are. But that's okay. They say bald is beautiful. You know what I mean?
I don't disagree with that at all. But I do agree with everything that you've been saying. Yeah, when I was a kid, I still hate watching the news because my parents always watched the news. It was in later years in life before they passed, they would always watch Fox News 24/7, 365. Annoying as hell. But I hated politics. Always did. Even when my first vote, I only did it just to exercise my right. I didn't really care one way or the other, and I voted for Reagan. But you really, my parents kind of drove this into my brain that you really need to pay attention to politics. even if you hate it, because look what's going on now.
Right.
I think what's happening now is based on people not paying attention and just, strictly voting party lines, and we're now screwed up for it. I mean, both parties they're not the best. One is better than the other, depending on your perspective, but they all do the same thing to us. They make us pay more and more money in taxes.
That's it. And did you hear? I read today. Now, I don't. I take some of the internet news to a certain degree, and then I kind of like, nah, this can't be right. But Biden today, they said, put a stop to the oils or whatever, the natural gas or whatever the hell it is, the oil refineries, and he stopped that. So from what they say is that we're going to go from $3 a gallon of gas all the way up to maybe 10, 12. I don't know if you heard anything like that.
That's what happens to you, damn Yankees. I'm just saying, that's what happens to you, damn Yankees. Y'all deserve them prices up there in the north. It's it's funny when you say $3 a gallon, because when the orange guy was president, we were paying 99 cents. Legitimately, we were paying 99 cents a gallon.
In some cases, yeah.
And the highest we got with him was 149 the whole time he was president.
I think the highest we got up here was like maybe 225.
Yep.
But what I've noticed about the country is where most of our refineries are, they're on the coast. The closer you are to the coast, the less your gas is. Further away from the coast, the more. And the reason is because the OPEC nations drop their oil off in Savannah, in New Orleans, other coastal cities. It's refined there and then trucked up by other vehicles that need gasoline to the inner cities.
No, we're gonna bring Larry on in a minute, guys. Larry, I see you down there. We're gonna bring you on in just a second, man. It is true though, because I mean, where I live, if you're in New Orleans, you're 20 minutes from three of the world's largest refineries, so gas isn't really that expensive. If you're out in St. Bernard, you're even in a better place. They even get it even cheaper. Some of the places on the coast get it pretty cheap. So it's nice. It's a nice setup. Oh, thank you, baby. And it is nice that you get the gas. You'll be getting it for us. For us, we get eggs, any kind of meat you want. Most vegetables are quite a bit cheaper here. Everything's importing and exporting right out of the two ports right here, but a lot of it's just locally grown in Louisiana and Mississippi. So, like chicken and hogs and beef, there's no reason to leave the state. I mean, and you get it at so much a better price. I mean, you can get a half a rack of filet, which is about $30. You'll get 8 or 9 2-inch steaks out of it. Mm-hmm. Or you can get a whole ribeye, which is about $140. But Jesus, last time I got 17 steaks like this, man. They were monsters.
Oh, why the hell? What kind of cows do they have down in New Orleans, dude?
We got big cows. We got big mugu cows, baby.
I'm telling you. I do that for a living, man.
I know you do, man. I talk to you all the time about it. It is amazing to me at some of the deals we get down here. And I asked the guy one time, I said, did you stick two of them together? And he said, no, this is legit. I'm like, get out of here, man. I said, it's like some kind of hybrid. I forgot what brand what he said it was, but they're a cross between a Black Angus and something else, and they're almost 1.5 foot longer than a Black Angus is.
Oh, wow.
They're actually bigger too. They're bigger all the way around. They had some name for them. Look, I'm not a cattle expert by any means. I do Black Angus, Whiteface Angus, redheads, the little big side horns, the longhorns. But they still have longhorns down here, which is weird. They take up so much space.
That's a big cow. Where I'm at in Pennsylvania, I have a couple of farmers markets nearby. There's Pat's country store up the street. It's an Amish or Mennonite place with really cool vegetables and things. And then the other way in going towards Hagerstown in Maryland, there's a guy, I don't know the name of it, but he's a private butcher, and he has nothing but Holsteins, but they're small, they're skinny. Yeah, they're not quite as lean. I haven't bought any meat from him, but I'm sure the prices are pretty comparable to what you got down there in New Orleans.
Yeah, they probably are. Okay, let's drop Larry's. Man, look at this
Hey,
good looking
Larry.
man. Look at this good looking
Right.
man. We got a
Hey,
good looking
Larry.
crowd in here tonight, man.
Yep.
All right, we better not let any women in here. And I know I see the other Sean's in here too, so we better just
Yeah.
okay, ladies, just keep put it in the pocket, women, just calm down. I know you gotta watch Larry. I watch. Look, okay, I can't give secrets away, but man, you gotta keep an eye on Larry. Them girls like Larry, man.
Time. I'm getting pretty old now.
Yeah, I don't think they care, Larry. I don't think they really care too much about that part. This is Larry Elmore, ladies and gentlemen. Larry is just an outstanding artist, and we had him on a couple months back. I've had the pleasure of meeting him twice out at Writers of the Future in Los Angeles. He's a character in him. Y'all think I can talk? I ain't got nothing on Larry. I mean, he got stories. He's got some of the best stories I've ever heard too, and they're very entertaining, but they're true, and that's what makes them even better. So, Larry, how you doing tonight, man? I mean, you're looking good.
I've spent the last hour trying to figure out how to do this.
That's frustrating. Yeah, that can irritate the what out of you. So you heard what we were talking about before we get into art. You heard us talking about steaks, man. You got a favorite steak?
I'm a steak guy. I like.
Yeah. You got a favorite though? What's your favorite?
I'll use a big juicy sirloin. That's about it.
Oh, yeah, they're good. Sirloins are good.
That's
I
the poor man's beef.
I can't.
Yeah.
And he got more money than the three of us put together. That's the sad part.
Well, I need to go to a restaurant.
I'm a big ribeye fan, but my doctor
like
tells me all
ribeye
the time.
too.
He
Yeah,
tells me to stay a bleep away from
well,
that.
Really, I like about all steaks except the little hamburger steaky things.
Oh yeah, I'm with you on that. I'm not a big fan of it
I
either.
like steak. Period. If it's cooked well.
I told my cardiologist that I said, Doc, my problem is I've never made a steak I didn't like. It's like, you better find one you don't like. And he tells me the same thing though. He goes, well, you can either eat the sirloin or eat the filet, which either one have enough. I just got used to the damn ribeye is what the problem is. And we can get fatty fillets down here, which is kind of strange, but and for some
We
reason,
get them up here too, dude.
can you see they're a little better when they got a little marble in them? I think that could just be my own personal thing. And
that's where the
New
flavor
York,
comes from. Yeah.
Yeah, it really does.
it is. It's a good thing. But Larry Elmore is a great guy. And so what you got going on lately? I hear you into all kind of trouble and mischief and
Right now, we started a Kickstarter. A friend of mine that runs my website. I mean, the older I get, the worse.
he's 45, by the way, guys.
I'm 75. So the more my short-term memory is not as good as it was. I can still paint and draw like ever, but a lot of the computer stuff, since I'm not on the computer all the time, I don't use a computer to draw or paint with. It's all done by hand. I'm old school, and I'll stay that way till I die. And so I got a friend that really helps me out with the computer stuff and everything. And so other than that, we got it. He taught me to do a Kickstarter, and I didn't really want to. And I said, okay, I tell you what, you run it. I mean, I'll do what I need to help. And we'll decide what our stretch goals are, because I'm not going to sit here and work myself to death on this stuff. And I said, I don't know how much we're going to make. And he said, I think we'll make 400,000. I said, you're crazy.
I'm with him, but still.
I said, we ain't going to make that kind of money. And he said, well, we split it. He said, we'll do it. And he said, I'll keep pushing it, and I'll do the advertising, all that stuff. And I said, well, if I did it, I would post it once, and that's about it.
No.
So now
Damn, work that stuff, man.
we're halfway through. 2 days, I think we're halfway through it. It's at 240,000 or something like
Jesus.
that. So
I would not doubt that you would get it easy, Larry. I got to be honest.
According to the little graphs they do, you start out big and then you sink in the middle, and you come back to the top at the last real high. Well, if I have that upturn like I did starting, he might be right. I don't know.
Well, we'll help push you along, buddy. Look, I think you're a great person, so we'll get some information on it and get it posted up there for you.
It's a big, over 270 pages, hardback, a 9x12 book. It's printed really quality printing, and I print in the United States. because I will go now. I got to go to Michigan to where it's being printed. There's not a lot of printers like there used to be. They can print big full color books and bind them, and so I've got to go up to Michigan. I go there when they do a print run of these and make sure the colors are right and everything else. So, but it should turn out to be a really really nice book, and that'll probably be the last one I'll do.
Well, still, I mean, it would be, and now I can't wait to see it. I'll have to go over and get me one.
That's running right now. Just Larry Elmore on Kickstarter.
What was that, Denise? Denise, what are you talking about? Dungeons and Dragons. We'll talk about that. We got Larry for a little while. We'll talk about it.
I'm done everything for the night, and I don't go to bed till late, so I don't.
You're like me. You can't go out now. I can just look. All right, let me say this. My wife hates this because on the weekends, especially, it'll be 5 a.m. She said, it's getting light. I said, oh, is it? Let me go to bed, babe. And she spoiled me. I mean, she just brought me a cup of coffee. So, but it is. I've never been a daytime person. I remember when I got my first company and I had to start staying up in the daytime. I said, this really, what, guys? I'm like, how do people do this and stay up all day? I just didn't like it, but unfortunately, I got to do it. But
when I was freelancing full time,
getting up with the birds is for the birds.
You get up early, and my bedtime was usually about 2 a.m. So I went for 40 years, getting about 40 years, getting about 6 hours sleep at the max. And now that I'm free, I'm not doing more commercial work. I'm trying to paint for myself. Well, I still stay up to midnight or more, and I get up about 9 in the morning. But my wife is she was a farmer's daughter, so she gets up around 4:30 or 5 and goes.
Oh, she's a crack of the dawner, huh?
So
yeah, I hate to say it's how my wife was when I met her. I kind of broke her
before
out
the crack of dawn.
Yeah, well,
and that's just how she is, and so I'm like,
but if that's what you're comfortable with, that's where you should be.
If I stay up late and I don't bother her, well, I never know when she gets up. She's always up and gone or whatever. By the time I get up or doing something.
Well, here's the bad deal with me, right? So I'm up. In fact, I got to go to work in the morning, but I'm up at 4 o'clock in the morning every day, right?
Oh.
So when it comes down to my days off, okay, thinking I'll be able to sleep in. Oh no, I'm up at 4 o'clock.
I know what it is because when I got to the Army, my first job, I got a job at Fort Knox. I only live about 45 miles from Fort Knox. And there's a printing plant there where they made Army manuals from everything. It was written, they got the manuscripts in, and it was laid out, printed, everything there. And I worked in the layout and illustrated. And so I learned all about publishing there. But Fort Knox is like 50 miles from me, and they're an hour faster. Our time zone runs right down the middle of Kentucky. And I live on one side and Fort Knox on the other side. They're an hour faster. I had to get up at 4 a.m. to get to Fort Knox every day. And I was never a morning person. But I know and then when I'd still work till midnight. When I get home, I couldn't help it. I would sit and paint, and they're like, oh, God, it's midnight. I got to go to bed now, and I get 4 hours sleep. But I was young, and I did that for many years. But I hated it. Oh, I hated it. Getting up at 4 a.m.
Yep.
Yeah. I never was good at that. A friend of mine said, well, you own a construction company. I said, yeah, I do, but I'm the boss. I said, you bitches got to be to work at 6, not me. And he's like, but I said, no buts. That's what is a damn foreman and supervisor. I said, my son's out there. Y'all don't need me until later in the day. I said, I don't pay my dues, buddy. When I was, I was like 22, 23. I fell 2.5 stories and ripped out my right knee. With a Georgia bucket. I don't know if you know what a Georgia bucket is. One of them motorized wheelbarrows. Yeah. It's one of the things that made me decide any way life goes, I'm finding out how to go into business for myself. I can't do this, man. I can't be working for the man. Me and the man just don't see eye to eye. No, Carolyn, it's D&D. Yeah, we'll talk about that. Calm down. You one of them freaks, aren't you? You one of them freaks, aren't you? Everybody in this room's played D&D, so I'm just saying. But you one of them freaks, aren't you? I can tell with these questions you keep pounding me off a messenger with. Don't ask me that. I don't
was
know.
trying to figure out to turn my light on.
Well, you look
And
good,
Joe,
man.
I'm
You
look
look
good.
probably the
brother.
only one in the
You look
room
good.
that has an original. Hey, Joe. I'm probably the only one in the room that has an original Dungeons and Dragons box set, and by box set I mean
Do you?
like a
The
little
old-
box with
the
3
little
pamphlets in it.
Wow. I
The
don't know how to do
original, the very first thing that Gygax did, yeah.
that. Wow.
And it came with these really, really sharp dice. The dice were sharp on the corner, so if you threw them at someone, it would like stick in their head. It was you could actually draw blood with these dice, real blood. I'm not kidding; they were that sharp.
No, kids, if you get one of these sets, please do not throw these dice at people.
Please do not throw it at your friends; you will pop out an eyeball.
I was there in 81 or 82. I can't remember exactly. And some of my first painting projects was Endless Quest book covers and doing the red box, the new cover. And then they got me on Dragonlance, and I did a lot of covers for that stuff. But it was fun working there. It was everybody was pretty young. I was around 32 or 3, maybe at the max. And everybody was like my age and younger, and Gary wasn't that much older than us. And it was just a bunch of young people, everybody having fun. They had flex hours, and people worked whenever they felt like it. I mean, as far as how long they worked during the day, sometimes you work up there to midnight, and then some artists were together and talking and painting, and just if we go home, we're going to paint anyway. So.
Not the
It was
truth.
fun. It was fun.
Might as well get paid for it, right?
The reason I quit is when people started coming in, it was making too much money, and I could see the writing on the wall. We talked about it. Somebody's going to buy us out, and it'll be different. And then they got to fighting over who owned, control the company, all internal stuff. And then Lorraine ended up buying the company, and she wanted to produce her things. She hadn't played D&D. She knew what it's about. And so it's like, it wasn't the same environment. I quit. I'm going freelance. And Keith Parkinson's been one of the artists. He quit with me, and we got a studio in Lake Geneva and worked there for about a year and a half. And I moved back to Kentucky and built this house, and been here ever since. And
Nothing wrong with Kentucky, baby.
Yeah.
Ain't
Kentucky's
nothing
home
wrong.
to me, my wife too. Our family's lived here for several generations.
I got relatives scattered all through. I got relatives scattered. My sister and them lived up Knoxville for a while. They loved it up there, but they're in Atlanta now.
Got way up north. Moved to Knoxville.
Yeah. They were just all of us. I mean, my sister, she's from New Orleans, and one day they just moved, and then they were living up there for a while, and then she called me, I'm moving to Atlanta. I'm like, oh Jesus, I got to visit you in Atlanta. Look, people in Atlanta, I'm not hating. Okay, I just came back from Dragon. I mean, I was up there. Matter of fact, I was thinking about Larry because April was up at Dragon Con, and
I didn't go to Dragon Con this year. I think I'm scheduled to do Gary Con this year because it's a certain anniversary thing of TSR thing, and so some of the old employees that was there, and some still live in that area, and so I might see a lot of people I hadn't seen in a long time, old friends, that work together. And the Gary Con is really a fun thing. Pure gaming too, man. Everything. It's a nice convention. Except when you go up there in the spring, it's like in March or something. It's still cold, man. It can be snowing up there.
I've had enough snow in my lifetime. I ain't gonna lie, people.
When I lived up there, I had enough snow.
I live on a golf coast, and if it snows here, I can drive 60 miles down to New Orleans, and it's definitely not snowing down there. So I can count 4 times in my entire 50 years of life. 60
I
years
love
of life.
snow. I just love snow. I really
I don't
do.
mind snow. It's the cold. When I was living in Wisconsin, one winter, it was New Year's Eve night. Right around that time, we had a spell in there. It got to 15 degrees below zero. And what was it? Like a
Ouch.
New Year's Eve party. So I go out and get I had a pickup truck, get my truck to go home. It was after midnight. And my truck, it was a straight, so I pushed a clutch in. And when I started putting gear, it felt like I was in a thick mush. And so I couldn't tell what gear, so I thought I got it in first, okay. And so it started, luckily, real slow, but it started. So I got it run pretty good, so I started laying on the clutch. Clutch stayed to the floor. So I hooked my toe around the clutch, pulled the clutch up, giving it plenty of gas, and it didn't move. It killed it. My tires were stuck to the ground. And so I had to start it again and give it a lot of gas, and finally it broke loose. And so I'm driving up the street, just bang, bang, bang. My tires were like square. And come to a red light, hit my brakes, went right through that red light because my brakes was frozen up. So I had to stomp on them a while. That's cold when all that happens. But I can't believe I started at that below zero. My battery was good enough. That's the coolest I've ever been.
See, these boys live up in the north. I'm like, no. Y'all stay where it snows. And what is that, Claire? No, Claire, it has snowed here a couple of times. Mississippi's different. I mean, it's the Gulf Coast, and I live right on the coast, so the weather kind of skips. It's hard to explain, but it kind of skips over me, unless it's a hurricane, and then it just plows through everything. It's just part of living here.
Mm-hmm. I like living here because we've got 4 definite seasons.
Yeah, you do.
Definite seasons, and it's really, for me, it's inspiring when the seasons change and you go out, everything changes 4 times a year. And I like that. We get snows, we get cold weather, we get warm, we get hot, 100 and some degrees this summer. And but you get 4 definite seasons, beautiful long autumns, everything.
Where are you from, Larry? Larry, where are you from?
Litchfield. It's sort of the center. I'm just a few miles north of Mammoth Cave, a few miles south of Louisville.
Okay.
So that area there, sort of the central part of the state. The center, yeah.
Well, see, Jay, you can verify this. I mean, up here in Pennsylvania, for the longest time, we had the 4 seasons.
Yeah.
Okay. But it just seems like the last 3 or 4 years, we don't get it. You know, it's just like
we get longer summers or longer winters or what?
We get longer winters and then
shorter. Well, when I was a kid.
Go ahead.
Yeah, and I'm originally from Maryland, which is just a few hours south of where I am now, but actually just an hour south of here. But when I was younger in the 70s, we got big snow, 2 foot, 3 foot, 4 foot snows, at least one a year. We haven't had one of those in, like Sean was saying, 3 or 4 years at least. So we're probably overdue for like a big dump. I mean, I wouldn't be surprised if tomorrow like 8 feet dump on us. But the snow has been really mild the last at least 20 years since I've been living up in this part of Maryland and Pennsylvania. Very, very mild.
Absolutely.
Winters.
Well, when I was young in the 50s and the 60s and 70s, especially the 60s, we've had 3 foot snows. It was in the wintertime. Everybody had sleds because there's always big snows. And it would last for weeks, And now, last year, I think it snowed a couple of times, but nothing really stuck. If we get an inch, we're lucky.
Yeah,
that's about it.
It snows and then it melts like the day later. And
we'll figure that out because
spring.
We got snow every 12 years. Yeah. Now we're getting it every 3 years.
Well,
now wait. Let me rephrase that, people. Before anybody writes in, we don't get real snow. Okay.
Oh.
Okay. No. We get no. Whoever wrote that? No, we get anywhere from 1 inch to maybe, if we're extremely lucky, 5 inches. Now you get North Mississippi and North Georgia, that's different because they got mountains and stuff up there, so the snow will get a lot thicker. But down here on the coast, not so much.
Oh, yeah.
Even though I did post when my second year living in this house, I had 24-inch icicles hanging off my house that year. So it was like the year before, all summer I was in shorts. I mean, all winter.
I saw that picture.
Yeah, and then the next year it was a frozen tundra here. I mean, you just don't know what you're going to get, but it's part of it. I think I got your Kickstarter, Larry. Let me make sure. Let me post it up here. Make sure we get the right thing going on. Is that us here?
No, that's not it.
Okay, let me see.
There's a new one on there.
Oh, cool.
Oh, okay, I'm on the wrong one. Can I? Let me see. Wait, what am I doing here? Am I where am I? Oh, that's got to play it.
They stick them up there forever, I guess. But that's not it.
That's not it. I'm still scrolling. If not, I'll keep it.
Larry, are they based off of Dungeons and Dragons characters?
Hello, Mama. Who's this Mama? Hey, baby. I'm sorry, but I'm getting carried away here.
That image is in my new book. But you said they're based. No, I got everything. I've got a lot of. It's got D&D stuff in it. Good basic and expert in all those boxes. I didn't have much of my Endless Quest book art, but I have Dragonlance stuff. But I've got the first third of the book is probably at least a third is or half maybe third. Third is just TSR work, and then there's another group that's non-TSR, and then I get into some about 50 pages or so of black and
All right,
white.
somehow I got in the wrong one. Let's see.
And, yeah, that's the old one.
All right, I'm in the wrong. Okay,
To be honest with you, Larry, I've never heard of you before. And
you got to be kidding me, man. No, I know. No, because you're just a different circle. That's all.
What?
I don't play D&D.
Oh, well,
That's right. That's well. I mean, that's one of those things. I mean, different artists you don't hear about. There's quite a few artists I've met. Well, let me remove this for a
My
second.
brother does. My brother
I've done
does.
a lot of paperback book covers. I've done everything from sticker fun books to model car boxes, coloring books. God, you name it, just about. I've done covers for it. But, mainly, I did the most. I see bulk of my work was TSR and paperback books, and then I quit doing that about 3 years ago. I think it's when I turned 70 or 71, something like that, 72, and I just quit doing it all, and I decided to paint for myself. I'd been doing private commissions for the last couple of years, and I tried to. I was getting too much work, and
that's not a bad thing.
no, but I was charging.
Sometimes it can be.
Well, I was charging about $3,000 or $4,000 for a painting. I mean, I do big, nice paintings. Well, I got booked up for like 3 years. I'm like, this is crap. And I started doing private contract work in 13. And after my last big Kickstarter, I thought, I'm tired of all. I'm going to do private contract. Well, so I got booked up so much after I got halfway through that, I raised my prices to like $8,000 a painting, got booked up again. Then I raised them to $10,000 a painting, got booked up again, and went to $15,000. And finally, I worked all those off, and I said, I don't want any more. Well, people are still wanting commissions, so I raised it to $20,000. Well, I got booked up again, so I finally worked that off last fall, and I quit. I'm not taking. I feel guilty raising prices any higher. I don't know. I know we're Americans, capitalists, but I feel guilty.
Hey, it's Joe Biden inflation. Raise them damn prices. But, like the rest of us.
But now I'm,
Right.
and I thought
Gas goes up, paintings go up. Simple logic.
Everything goes up. So I decided I'm just gonna paint for myself then, and if my wife don't like it or something, or the kids don't want it, I'll just sell it, and But if I like it, I'll put a high price on it.
That's right.
Because, everything. Like anybody in the arts, writers and artists, musicians, usually a whole career, you're just making ends meet the best you can. It's just working hard and painting, you're painting 24 hours a day to meet deadlines. And so finally, I think, when's this ever going to pay off? Well, it finally did. About 70, when I was about 68, 69 years old, it started paying off. And it kept paying off big time, more and more. I thought, well, maybe the good Lord will let me live this long to see me getting some real money. But by now, it's like, I'm not young. I'm pretty happy and content with everything. Everything's paid off. And I always like hot rods. I've got 2 or 3 hot rods and cars. I was into cars my whole life. Now, I'm not a mechanic. Just I love to drive them. And the more horsepower they got, the better I like them. So.
Man after my own heart, man.
34 Ford Coupe. I've got a 1934 Ford Coupe that's running 750 horsepower.
Wow.
It's a 5-speed in the floor. It's manual.
Wow.
And I put a 5th speed in because it's so low geared that for road gear, you had to have a 5th gear so you could cruise down the interstate about 80. But we had to put cheater slicks on it, which is a slick tire with no tread. It's got just little dashes of tread about every foot apart, just one little line of straight tread. And that's legal. That's street legal. Can't drive it in the rain because you just sit there and spin. But it really grips the road.
Oh, yeah. You slide all over the place.
And so it's like You get the tunnel vision when you're going through the gears. Where have you ever done that before? Where your focus narrows down to just a spot.
Yeah.
And what I found, I didn't know what was causing that. I just found it the other day. Somebody was on TV. So what causes that tunnel vision is you're accelerating so fast, the blood in your eyes is pushed back, and it just remains right around your focus. So when it started doing that, I thought, I must be going pretty fast. I'm not really looking at the speedometer. I'm looking at the road and going through the gears, And I'd be looking at the road. Everything starts tunneling into just a little round spot that's in focus. Everything else is a blur. And I thought, well, that's fast enough. And I'm old. I could screw up here. Find me over a half-acre field somewhere, pieces.
Oh, I used to love to go fast, man. My wife still gets, she still gets on my ass. So I said, okay, I'll get a slower car. I'll buy slower cars. And unfortunately now, even the little 6-cylinders are damn do 170 miles an hour. I mean, it's one of them things now.
Geared up and everything, and you can just keep going through the gears and just get faster and faster.
I know it's insane. It's insane. Well, I was explaining to a friend of mine, we were talking about electric engines, and I said I'll always prefer the thrust of a gas-powered engine. I said, even though an electric engine in the long run would probably be much faster, even off the line if you've got enough power, but it's just not the same.
I bought it.
Feel the same. It doesn't sound the same. I guess you could add fake sound.
It doesn't feel the same, yeah.
I like the engine sound, all that stuff. But I was a friend of mine called me the other day, and I did buy. I've got a 2021 Corvette, the new body style, and I started saving my money on the side. I had a little bank account, I kept putting money into it. And my wife said, "What's this for?" I said,
"Nothing, baby."
And she said, "You're not buying a Corvette. That's too expensive." I said, "Well, what I found out about the Corvette market, if you want to buy a new one, you got a 2 to 3 year wait." Okay.
Mm-hmm.
I thought, man, I might be dead in 3 years.
Some markets, that's true.
Yeah, and you get a new one for like 72,000. Okay, you buy a slightly used one, like 10,000 miles, they cost you 105 to 110,000. Okay, so I thought, crap, man. So I could get one now that's got 10,000 miles on it, like new, or be dead in 3 years and not ever get one. So or whatever. I don't know what time. So I talked to my wife. I started saving money. I saved about a year or two. I was selling little drawings and everything, putting that in the bank. And every time I'd sell a painting or something, I'd talk to my wife and let me put that in my little account. And so I got it up to like $50,000. I thought, man, I'm going to go buy me a Corvette. Then I found out about this aftermarket shit. And so the one I found, it was top of the line, had about 12,000 miles on it. It was loaded. It was a 20 or 21. It's the new body style, the mid-engine or rear engine, what you want to call it. And they wanted 110,000. So I talked them down, and I had an old model Corvette I bought years ago. It was really good shape, but it was like a 2009, and it wasn't a Corvette. Okay, it was like driving my wife's car. And it really was. Now, that's back when they took the power out of them, and it was automatic. And it was like, God, I hate this car. So I traded that in. And I used all my savings and got it down. I was like about $40,000 shy.
Shit.
I was in the dealer's room hanging out. My wife's sitting there. We was hanging it back and forth. And I looked at her. I said, let's just take it out of savings. I'll do some paintings. I'll put it back in somewhere. I'll sell a painting or something, or two or three. And she goes, she argued with me a while. And finally, she said, okay. But I hate it. I hate the car. I don't even want to ride it.
She already hates the car. It's not good side.
So I bought it, and it's paid for. And so now, from that point on, I've been replenishing the money that
putting it back. No, baby, I'm putting it back. Well,
one penny at a time.
I still owe a little bit more.
I mean, you had it out on any flat tracks or anything? Just riding it hard?
We got Kentucky is just one big flat track. You got the
that's true.
Straightaways. It's fun.
I used to
I've
love.
never driven a car like it.
I used to love to go. I used to. I got
They're
hooked on
they're
those
they're
stupid
some
little
of the
dirt
funnest
cars.
cars to drive.
They oh god.
No, we had the. My mom got crazy, so I was bugging my mom to buy a Stingray. I was like, "Come on, mom, buy a Stingray." So she
Talk to me.
decide. So she decides. I'm at the house. I'm in the service now. So I come home. She buys a Corvette. She bought the last year of the L82 Stingray. The last year they made it. This car, when it ran, was a beast. When it ran, it was a beast. The car had more problems with it. You go outside, batteries dead. You go outside, boy, you'd be punching. I was going to a funeral and I was doing about 90 on the causeway. You know, it's a 25-mile long bridge. And I just punched it in second. Before I knew it, I was 155, 158 the car. And you could feel it kind of wanting to
Right.
so it's just it needed a little weight in the front is what it needed. So I just eased off of it. And then all of a sudden, while this is going on, it's got this stupid horn system my mom put in. It starts playing the General Lee. Dude, I'm like, what the hell's going on? I'm like, oh man, it was insane.
Man, generally.
I'm like, just figure I'm doing 100-something miles an hour.
Coupe I've got, I took it out, got it going pretty good, and it's a big long straight stretch. I just nailed it, and it just started getting faster. And it's like I said, it's a hot rod. It's not like a Corvette. There's no aerodynamics. You know, it's
just pure power. Yeah, I know what you mean.
Coupe body, no fenders, and an open engine with a big blower up there. Yeah. And I looked down the speedometer because it was getting floaty. I never had a car to get floaty with me. It was like
it's weird.
Float.
Feels weird.
I was doing 142, and I thought I better not push anymore because it could just float, leave the ground or something. It's not aerodynamic.
It might have too.
Now the Corvette, I've only had that up to about 140,
and there wouldn't have been no D&D.
And I thought, and it was still pulling. And I thought, man, that's fast enough on these stinking roads. I mean, a cow could walk out in the middle of the road, and I'm dead.
That's true. Yeah.
So,
it was real in the early days. The Causeway Bridge, the cops didn't really care if you flew across it. Of course, now you break 65, you get in a freaking ticket. It's just the way it is now. There's still some places in Mississippi and Louisiana you can go get fast, but I mean they're way out in the middle. There's a couple of these big forests where there's nothing. I mean, you won't see a person for 5 or 6 hours, so you can cruise through there. I blew by a state trooper one night at about 118. Didn't even come after me. I'm thinking because I'm telling my wife we're going to jail. We're going to jail. We're going to jail. No cop, no light. I'm like, okay, and I just kept on going. And then I said, "Oh, you better slow down." He might have called ahead, but we didn't see anybody for hours. It's insane. The worst thing you got to worry about a day is a bear walking out in the freaking middle of the road while you're doing 100 miles an hour.
Especially around here.
Or deer.
Deer. They're thick as grasshoppers, man.
Yeah,
really,
they are.
You're not seeing grasshoppers anymore. I think all this insecticides kill a lot of the grasshoppers.
They kill a lot of stuff. What's that? Clara Lee, where are you calling in from, Clara? Where are you on? Oh, you're a messenger. Okay, I didn't see you. I was wondering why my little thing at the top of the screen up here was flipping around. Where are you? Wilmington, Tennessee. I ain't been to Wilmington. God, and I want to say how long ago that was. I don't even want to say. What do you got for us? Oh, you just want to rant and say Larry Moore's the king of Larry Elmore's king of Dungeons and Dragons? I'm sure he doesn't mind.
Well,
I see we got some admiration going on in the other room. Oh no, Larry's a great guy, guys. I mean, I've got to talk to him on a couple of occasions, and he's a lot of fun to talk to. He's we were in I think it was the Roosevelt when it was the Roosevelt when you had the suite out by the pool. It was him and I and Tom Wood and a gentleman who had just won the contest who was just probably that guy was probably in shock that he got to hang out with these two guys. I'm not kidding you. I mean, he looked like a couple of times I looked over at him hanging over back. I thought he was going to pass out on us, man. And then Tom gave him a job. Guys, if you don't know who I'm talking about, all I can tell you is go to Writers of the Future. They're judges for Writers of the Future. It'll take you back to all of their artwork. All of them are extremely talented.
That is when they first called me up. I want me to do it. They hit me up at DragonCon, and I thought L. Ron Hubbard. Right then, and all this stuff on the L. Ron Hubbard and all the negative publicity.
Mm-hmm.
And so I just sat down with what's his name? The guy that runs everything. about. I can't think of his name right now. And I said, look, he took us out to dinner. My wife.
Oh, John,
and all the people that work on the convention, they're all work there.
John Goodwin and Emily and Sarah and the gang. Yeah.
We finished eating, and I said, okay, I want to talk about the monster in the room. I said, L. Ron Hubbard. I said, I read his books. I like him. I said, but I'm not a Scientologist. I'll never be a Scientologist. I said, I used to be a Baptist. My wife used to be a Catholic. And I said, I'm fed up with all this. I said, what you're doing is a good thing. I'll be a judge, but you're not going to get me into Scientology. I just said,
nope. And they've never even asked me, not even what
and I told them, I said, I know you've never asked me, but I'm just getting this out there.
Yeah, I'm getting this out there. I'm the same way. Not going to happen.
But I mean,
now
I don't have nothing against Scientology. I don't really care. I don't have anything against.
I don't know well if anything against. I'm friends with a lot of them. I can tell you that though. Now Sean up there, he's one of them. I think he's like David Miscavige's cousin or something. No, I'm just kidding. Before anybody writes in, Jesus people, I was just kidding. That'll get me in trouble. Yeah, you bad people. I'm sorry, Larry, what were you saying?
No Scientology here, brother.
No, but they're the greatest people I've ever been with.
They're fabulous people.
All the people who work there, they're from, I don't know where they're from, but they're really good people. They are. They do something really great.
They're hard working, nice people all the way around, and they work. And they work.
Artists and writers a big break. It really does.
It does. It helps out. I mean, it's hard to explain, and they won't let me film the whole thing, and I understand why. But it's from what I put out there, you can see. I mean, these people are so taken with these judges, just like I was talking about a few minutes ago when Larry and I and Tom and that young man was with us. This probably made this guy's career. I'm not even kidding you. I mean, he was just taken away. But the thing of it is they get all of their information. I mean, they get all this free education is the only way I can say it. I mean, these guys, I mean, they're all tops in their careers. They've all got excellent careers or in middle of stuff. They all are very talented artists. They're all very talented authors for that matter. So when you see these people just giving their time and working with and I don't want to say kids, because a lot of the, and illustrators are a little bit younger than they are with the writers, but they're still not kids. Most of these people, for the writers, it's like 34 and up. With the illustrators, it's a little bit younger, probably in the 20s and up, but still, it's amazing to watch them. Matter of fact, I got a picture somewhere. I'll have to show you. It's actually it'll be up on this archive. It's a picture of Larry Elmore sitting there. There's April sitting back here, and then the three. And you can just see in the picture itself, these people just intent on every word he's saying, because I mean he's successful. Then why shouldn't they be?
When they publish the book every year, it ends up on the New York Times best-selling list. So all these young writers and artists get to be seen by a lot of people. That's the book behind you,
yeah.
And it's really a big kick for them, like a Kickstarter in a way. You might it'll kick your career up a notch.
Well, I know a couple of big publishing companies order signed copies right out the get-go, so
Yeah.
And I cheat because I'm there, so I get my signed copies. I get especially signed copies.
Yeah,
by the way now.
You get your copy before anybody else.
Well, no, see, I'm there. Well, it's weird. So I'm there the night they do
signing, like for a couple hours. There's so many books we have to sign. We all sit on tables. They just pass them. Everybody sign.
So I always get my copies from there, and then I'll catch the people afterwards and get another signing. But I take those same books to the gala and get their families to sign them.
Oh, that's cool.
So it's just an added thing. These books are definitely one of a kind. They'll be sitting on some desk somewhere or in a drawer somewhere until I'm dead and gone, until my son figures out what they're worth. Then he'd be like, "Oh man, having children or something else." What's up, Denise? Oh no, I'm looking for his Kickstarter. So as soon as I find, but look, just type in Larry Elmore Kickstarter. But when I find it, I'll put it back up. No, the one I had up was the wrong one. We don't want to give it. That was from like 2015, I think it said.
It's my third Kickstarter.
Yes, we want to make sure we get the right. Oh, this right here. This is just artwork of Larry's here. We had up.
Wow.
That's sitting in the. Sorry. Might help if I actually get to where I belong. Well, that's not anything we want to see. Look at that ugly face. God. I'm sorry.
Spaced out radio. The wrong panel up.
Obviously, we done lost what we were looking at. We'll have to go back and find it again. It's that was just kind of insane there. It's
website with that, just Larry Elmore.
Yeah, that's where I was until I decided to go play with whatever I was clicking around there. Obviously, I forgot how to work a browser there.
Wow.
What's that, Janice? No, we're looking for the Kickstarter, but just Larry Elmore. I type in Larry Elmore Kickstarter 2023 is how I do it. I'll do that in just a minute when I get through with this. Yeah.
I'll do it.
That all right. I'll do it right now. Just
It's doing good, and I'm happy. It's just there's going to be a lot of work ahead. I think right now I've got to sign at least 1,000 books.
Wow,
that's a bitch. So what we do? Signature card this time. That other time we had. So I can sit in one spot and sign. And when we did that, we had to go to a warehouse and get all these books, open them up. I sign them, put them up, restack them, and that took 2 days just about.
Wow.
So I'll do all this in probably a day. I was signing, and I limited I start with 500. I would sign 500, and the first day those 500 were sold, and so my friend ran the site. He said, and he charged more for them, and he said, "Would you do another 500?" No, and he talking to me, talked me into it. So I said, "Okay." And I said, "You're going to get your ass up here." He lives in Atlanta. Open these books or help me sign these book plates or something. You can pass them to me or something. I said, my wife fed up with this by now. All this signing and signing and signing. But it's all fun. I mean, I'm just, I can't believe that there's how many people in the world even wants to buy a book, of mine. I'm just still the same country boy I always was. I've been fortunate enough to travel all over the world just about, and I was.
Is this the correct one?
No, this says October 2015.
That's the old one.
Right? Yes, that's it right now.
That's the current one, volume 3.
That's it. That's the one right now.
Yes. Okay, so we'll just leave that right
Awesome.
where it's at.
Awesome.
Now I'm trying
to
keep it on my phone.
Where can I buy that book?
I want that book.
Kickstarter.
Where can I get it?
You can get it off Kickstarter right now.
Yeah, you go to Kickstarter right where we are.
You go to Kickstarter and then you put in a Larry Elmore book 3 or 1113 book.
Volume 3.
Volume 3, volume 111, and that'll pop up. It should.
Okay.
And anyway, it's doing good. I mean, like I said, I was pessimistic, and but it's already made more than I thought it would.
Where did it go? Okay. It's one of them kind of nights. Well, no, that's a good thing. I mean, we tell people about Kickstarter all the time, and I get people write to me thinking they can use it for other stuff. I said, but as best I know, it's pretty much used for authors and some artwork. I said, really, I haven't seen anything else that really works over there.
Well, no, there's other stuff. There's like Marvel has a bunch of games on there, like this new game, Marvel United, where it's a cooperative game where all the players play with each other, not against each other, and you play the Marvel superheroes to go against a single Marvel superhero. And the games are hard. My friends have some of them, and they're fun to play. But it took us 6 attempts with 4 of us playing the game to beat the Green Goblin. So
now there's good stuff on there, and people, they make millions on there.
Oh yeah.
Well, we know that one author made $44 million. I still ain't got over that one yet.
It's crazy. And but the only thing with shipping a book like this, it's a heavy book, and we had to really limit it to America. Last time on my other Kickstarter, it made, what do I say? It was over 300,000, and but the shipping overseas stuff was very expensive, and all that. So we just, I don't know how he's doing it, but James, the guy's running my site, he's got a link on there. If you're overseas, you click on this and it will tell you how to do the postage and everything. I don't think we've got too many people from Europe buying right now, or from Australia, but last time I sold a lot of books in Europe and Australia. Mainly this time it's US and Canada. But anyway, it's going good. And it's fun to do one. I mean, it's a lot of work, but when the thing's finally in your hands, like, well, with the three I put in, this is the third book. The second book was all black and white, inks and pencils, and it's still available. I still got some available, and of course, black and white didn't sell as much as color. Everybody likes color, but I like the black and white books because the foundation for painting is drawing. You got to learn how to draw, and the next stage up from just drawing with a pencil is inking.
Yeah.
So it's full of pencils and inks, and I had to learn how to ink when I started. I ended up doing some comic book stuff and everything. So you had to ink real well, not just with little pens, but ink with a brush. That's how the great comic artists did. And like I said, I don't use a computer at all. The only time I use a computer for sizing my drawings to the scale of my paint, something like that. But I don't paint with a computer. I don't draw with a computer. I draw by hand. I'm old school all the way. And I tell young artists to do that. I said, if you really like to draw and paint, stay original. It might be rough because all your competition is using computers. They do prints, sell prints, do computer artwork real fast to get it out. I said, but the rich people, I found out, you got it, that's it. The rich people want to own originals.
Right.
They're the ones now
That's
paying
right.
a lot of friggin' money for these paintings,
Mhm.
I mean, more than I can. I know a guy's got basic
There it is.
red. That old red D&D box cover. I know the guy that owned it. I sold it to him for $12,000 several years ago because I didn't want to sell it. And he really wanted to buy it. We needed money, so I sold it. And he's been offered over, he wouldn't tell me. I kept saying 50,000, 60,000, 70,000. He'd just say, he was shaking his head. No, that means he didn't sell it. He was offered that. And I said, well, how much were you offered? He said, all I'll say is over 80,000.
That'd
I
be
said,
like, smack, bitch, what you selling the thing for?
I
Sorry.
told $12,000, and I thought I was, I didn't know this. He's a young guy in college, San Diego Comic Con. He walks up and he asks, do you have the original D&D box cover? I go, yeah. He said, would you sell it? I go, nope. He said, you have the blue one. That's the second in that. And I said, yeah. I had all three of them. He said, would you sell that? I go, no. And so he comes back the next day and he said, give me a price. And I said, I don't know. I'd be embarrassed probably if I named a price. And I was thinking $10,000, At that
I've been thinking 50.
Well, at that time, we're talking several years ago, more than 10 years ago, okay? More like probably 12, 15 years ago. And so he said, all right. He said, would you take $12,000 for the red one? And I sort of hesitated. He said, and the same price for the blue one? $24,000. Today, that's like $150,000.
It is.
And I said, I think you just bought yourself two paintings. And that was it. And I sold it to him, and he still got them. And Coder, the big collector, Matthew Coder, he's a multimillionaire. He's collecting everything D&D. He's buying from everybody, everywhere. And he pays top prices. And him and 2 or 3 other millionaires compete on who can get it. And so my granddaughter, when she was born premature, and she had to have some drastic surgeries on her stomach and stuff. She's fine now, but back then they didn't know she's going to make it, and it's going to cost about $20,000 to over what insurance would cover for my son and his wife. And they already did. They paid, so they's in debt $20,000, and they both work hard and they make decent money, but that was a cloud that would sink them. And so I had just done a Kickstarter, and so they live in Louisville, so we drove up to Louisville and took them out to eat, and I gave them $10,000 a piece. And I said, him and his wife, I said, y'all put this together and you can pay off your debt. And they both started crying, and then they paid it off. And so that was money. Some of that money was we had in the bank from the sale of that. So I figured it went for a good cause, because they've still been trying to pay that off, with interest and everything.
Yeah.
Oh, you know it.
So,
things
you know,
today are ridiculously expensive.
things work out. If you're a good person, try to be a decent human being, it'll work out. And
Yeah, usually it does. It's
Usually, sometimes it takes a while.
unless your name's Vladimir Putin, and then you might have some
Yeah.
issues. Hey, wait, we got a play button on here. Wait, what's this?
he might have some problem. Oh, this is the intro. This is
Growing up in rural Kentucky, as a child, the beautiful skies and the changing clouds fascinated me. And also, the deep forests and dark woods and hollows were beautiful and haunting.
that's my house.
As I got older, it filtered into my art, and I always paint landscapes in my paintings.
This is a door next door to my garage, and my studio was right inside.
Yeah, it's a good looking guy.
Hi, I'm Larry Elmore. Welcome.
Hello, I'm Larry Elmore, and I've been an artist and illustrator for over 50 years. I just talk for. I'm probably
All right,
best
we'll
known for my
get you. We'll
covers
get you.
for,
Hold on, where's that?
Dungeons and Dragons.
That I lost it. Well, that's a good looking face, man. That's a good
Yeah, it
looking
is.
face.
There's
I'm telling you what. So y'all get over there, people, and buy this. I don't know what's going on with you people. We don't want to see no
spiffy there,
slouching.
brother.
I know he's looking good, man. That's what I'm saying. Good thing he got a wife. You know how these women are, man. I'm just kidding, ladies. Don't give me no shit.
At the very end of that video, they filmed me in that little black coupe. We got on a straight stretch, and he's filming me in the car. He's talking. I say something, and he starts stepping backward, and I take off. I lost the thing. And I missed third gear. I was nervous being filmed, but you don't hear it. He just filmed it before I got through first, hit second hard, and then he, blinked it out, closed it out.
We'll have to play that for y'all guys.
After that, you hear it going. I'm going to the third. I go, whoa.
Hey, excuse me, guys. Joe, I got to go to work tomorrow. I'm gonna.
Ooh, that's right, huh? You get some rest, man.
Larry, it was a pleasure meeting you.
Pleasure. I like to get on here with Joe and talk with people. Maybe we can do it again. Talk.
Oh yeah, we'll
That
get
would
you
be
back
great.
on. Yeah, he's a regular host on the network. Matter of fact, both of them are regular hosts on the network. They just joined me tonight because we wanted to see what was going on.
Thank you very much, Larry. I really enjoyed this.
Yeah, don't forget y'all can catch.
you soon.
Don't forget y'all can catch Sean on Tuesday. It's called Into the Night. What are you, 7 to 9 now?
8 p.m., 10 p.m. Eastern, 7 p.m.
He's doing it there in Central Time. I mean, it's East Coast time again.
That's
He's 7 to 9 people. No, anyway, y'all be sure.
Eastern time.
Yeah.
Eastern
Y'all be sure
time.
to catch him on Tuesday. He's right there. He's fixing to get a new show in front of him. I can't tell him who yet, but it's for sure. It's 1 to 2. It's 1 to 2.
Eastern.
Yeah,
You said 8 o'clock Eastern time.
Yes, sir.
Okay.
he's insane.
8
Don't
to
worry.
10.
And poor Jay, he has to do church at Mavis with a friend of ours who's we love and think he's great. He's nuts. I love Jeffrey. Jeffrey is now one of the oldest hosts on his network. Now he has actually been around here for a long time. He made it through Stephanie.
Good night, everybody.
Good night, Sean.
I was here with
Be
Stephanie.
good, baby.
Stay all right, brother.
Yeah, good seeing you, Sean. Take it easy.
Yeah, be good, John. If you need anything, just holler at me. No, I actually miss Steph from time to time. It's she was tough, but she is fair. And Michelle's tough and fair too. I was talking about Michelle actually on the podcast awards tonight. Ladies and gentlemen, I turned in my submission for the People's Choice Podcast Awards tonight. So hopefully on September 30th, you will see my lovely face on that screen accepting my award. We don't know until then. None of us do. They make you do your award because we made it to the finals. They make you do your awards, your speech first. And if you win, then you see it up there. If you don't, oh well. It's just how
Did they make you do both an acceptance and a you lost speech?
No, if you lose, you just lose. Because I think there's like 3 people in each category. Yeah. It's this is our fourth year of this, and we got honorable mention last 3 years, but I get that's why John won't let me talk wait, speaking of the devil, wait a minute. Wait just a minute. We're getting harassed here. Hello, is this Mr. Goodwin?
Is he calling you again?
Oh.
Hello?
Hello?
Is this Mr. Goodwin? Say hi to Larry.
Part of the first part.
Say hi, Larry.
Hi.
Hi, Larry.
I just said hi. You can't hear because I got it in the earbud tonight. What you doing? What you calling in for? You got a question?
Yeah. So I was just going to ask him, since you're talking all about is that video you're watching, the last like 20 seconds is him riding in his hot rod. But I was going to ask him about what it's like being a judge for the contest, because he's been a judge now for half a dozen years. And it's so I'm just curious from his take, what's it like, because it was a contest that was created by Ron Hubbard, 40 years ago, and he's been a judge for several years now. What he likes about it.
Well, there's not anything I don't like about it, to tell you the truth. It's ran. You guys run it really, really well. You got your act together on everything, and just meeting all these people, the winners.
I don't know why, because you're not in your thing. When he's talking, you'll have to catch him on the side. He's just talking about how sexy you are and stuff like that.
But no, I'm just saying it is a great competition. I wish I'd have known about it years ago. I don't think it was probably around when I was starting up, but didn't know about it.
Yeah, I'm wearing headphones. That's why you can't hear me. I mean, you can't hear him. Now he's going to go get his headphones on. Goofus. Oh man, that was John Goodwin, by the way. He's the president of Galaxy Press. He's one of the guys that helps put on the big gala and the whole event for the week when Larry and the guys are there. There's a lot of judges there, people. I mean, we're talking serious illustrator judges here. These are serious artists. These are not playtime kids. They really know their stuff. They really have their lives together.
Writers that come out there too and judge the writing. So it's for artists, and it's usually downtown Hollywood. You
got to win, though, people. You can't just we don't never announce where it's going to be, so you can't just show up. So you got to win to get there. And,
it's a quarterly competition, and every quarter, if you're a winner of a quarter, at least a winner, or maybe second. I'm not sure, but if you're a quarterly winner, then you are the ones that you're in competition again to be an overall winner.
Yeah,
and you're flown from wherever you live in the world to Hollywood and to accept the award. I mean, the award ceremony looks like the Oscars or something. It's great.
Oh, it does. It's great. Helen, you can submit 4 times a year. There's 3 winners picked each quarter. There's 12 winners. Yes, and sometimes there's some other winners, but anyway, there's 12 winners, each one for the illustrators and the writers.
Yeah.
And they're all a bunch of great people. I'm well over 50 illustrators and 50 authors and at least 20 judges now. I've met a lot of people out there, a lot of really, really good people. I was picking with Larry last time.
I'm letting you know the secret. The secret, Joe, is that those judges that you were friends with too, they're also writers and authors.
They are.
Yeah. So your number of how many authors and writers is just going up by however many judges.
That's true too. That really is. They but Carolyn, sometimes I do that, but they're all if you can win this, people, and get out there, you're going to meet some of the greatest illustrators, some of the greatest art, and you can learn more from Larry in a session than you can in a decade. I'm just telling you. I'm not even lying to you. And he's not the only one out there. If you get between him and Tom and DeSantis and Echo Chernick, I mean, you're going to learn stuff that it will literally take you a decade or more to learn on your own. You just can't get a better group of people to teach you how to be the illustrator that can go out in the world and
Cirillo is one of the judges too. Cirillo, beautiful work.
And then there's quite a few good. We got a new one coming in this year, Brian. Oh, I forgot his name there. Brian, what's your name? You listening tonight? He was just on the show a couple of weeks back. People don't ever ask me. Give me a face, I will remember it for life. Give me a name.
Yeah, I'm the same way. I guess artistically, I can remember faces. I met you, I know you, but names. Not a word.
People ask me my name. Sometimes I have to do this. My name is Jay. Look at my collar where my mom wrote my name.
No, you gotta win to come out. You can't. There's nobody knows. They don't even tell me what hotel we're at until I land at the damn
not
airport.
Like a convention, no.
Yeah, it's all that's kept secret and a lot. Well, no, the procedures. I mean, I talk about what goes on in each class, but I'm not going to film it. It defeats the point of being there if I did that. I want you to experience the individuals. And I'll tell you, I'm bad about this, but see, like, it doesn't matter what judge it is. If I see a group of people staring at a judge, but they're too scared to go over there, I will introduce them. I said, well, come here, I'll introduce you to the judge. And then, you know, they're just what they're there for. And the judges love it. I mean, every judge I've met so far will take on shit. They were inviting them to lunch last year with them.
Well, I found out, I know when I was young and getting my career, if I'd have met some of the artists that was popular at that time, I would have probably fainted. I wouldn't even talk. Okay. And now we zoom ahead 40 years or so, people are treating me the same way. And I'm like, I'm just a friggin' artist like you, like everybody else.
I know.
I've worked very, very hard. And
yeah, I mean, you're just a regular guy like Richard. You put your pants on just like everyone else, one paintbrush at a time.
I get depressed. I get happy. I get worried. Just like everybody else. It's not like living on cloud nine. And I live in this little town, my hometown. Most people know me through my parents and my lineage. Very few people know. Just a handful of people plays D&D know who I am. You know that I did the covers of a lot of that stuff, and I have more people come from this visiting a lot out of state, all over the place, but not right here locally. And
But that seems how it is.
last few years, they figured out that I'm some kind of an artist that a lot of people know. D&D, most of them know.
But they don't. I mean, it's one of them things. I know. I remember the first time somebody ever did a full page article on me. God, this is way back, 25 years ago at least. It might have been 30. So they come over to the house. They do a whole thing on us. So I'm thinking it's a little cover report. I'm thinking we're going to get like a little paragraph or something. You know. So next day I'm out. I'm at the bank, and all of a sudden every teller in the bank's talking about me. I'm like, what the hell? Vice President Bank comes over. Hey, Joe, I got to tell you about something that happened to me. Like, whoa, wait. Didn't realize the article, but not only did they give me an article, they did a full page, front page of the living section, the whole page. It was like everywhere I went for the next 4 weeks was like, oh, can I tell you about what I seen? Can I tell you what happened to me? Like, and then when people ask me for an autograph, even now, I've been in this for 40 years now, it still weirds me a little bit.
Yeah.
Plus, I have my wife who will smack me in the head if I get too carried away.
Yeah.
It just weirds me out.
But I don't know. I think it's the way I brought up, and you were too. I wasn't brought up with a silver spoon. And my parents were good, hardworking people, and everybody around it, in a rural area, a lot of farmers and stuff. And like I said before, when I was 3 and 4 years old, I was drawing on brown paper bags with a pencil under kerosene lamplight. We lived in the country, there was no electricity or running water. So we got our water out of a well. We had a coal stove in the living room for warmth. Mom cooked on a wood stove. And Dad, when he got out of World War II, got tuberculosis, and he was gone for a year or two at a time. 3 or 4 different times, until I was 11 years old. And finally, he was totally finished with it. I went through a few operations. And so we finally, when I was about 11 or 12 years old, when our lives started to get ahead and make enough money to get up to average rural family life. Before that, we were the popular because there was no money, and Dad got a little bit of money from the VA because tuberculosis was from the war. And so I think we was getting about $50 a month, and that's what we lived on for years while Dad was in hospitals. But it was happy times. I remember it was wonderful because I was too young to know the financial situation.
Yeah, which is nice to be ignorant to the financial situation.
And Mom, I remember Mom, she was in her 20s, and I thought, I'm lucky I got a really pretty mom. You know, she's a beautiful woman. And I was happy, and she would, under a lamplight, rock me at night by the coal stove and read me stories. And it was like some kind of, it could be in the 1800s, you know, where we were living in. And it was nice. And then we just got better and better. And I ended up going to college and everything else. And I've traveled around the world now. So my life is just one big, great education, and I've absorbed it all the best I can.
Yeah, that's mine. I can't help myself. I was just telling my wife earlier. I don't know what it is, man. Things just fascinate me. I can't help myself. Sometimes people do too. Well, I'm from New Orleans, so we're always fascinated with people because we got all the nuts down here. But it's
Yeah, you get all
you
the
know,
crazies
you
from
can
all
go. Well,
country
you
for
can go.
Mardi
You
Gras.
can go.
You
You can go out, and sit on a balcony on Royal Street or Decatur or Bourbon, and just watch the people, because there's always going to be people from all around the world and all around the country, and you can just watch them go by. And they're talking, they're drinking, they're hollering, they're screaming things like "Show me your tits," and everybody's like, "You can't say that. It's not Mardi Gras."
That's not Mardi Gras.
And they're like, "Oh, you can't? No, you're not really supposed to
They
be."
think it's Mardi Gras all year round,
They
right?
do. They do. A lot of people do.
Oh.
And and you'll see people throwing beads at people. I'm like, people, Mardi Gras ain't until March. Calm your asses down. The locals get irritated with them. They're like, look, stop it.
Relax, people.
Yeah, that's just. And then when it is Mardi Gras, of course, everybody thinks it's legal to get naked.
Yeah.
And I'm like, I was walking past this girl, and I said, "You need to put your clothes back on your ugly ass body, girl, for you scare some children." And right behind me, here comes two NOPDs arresting her ass. And you can get close to naked as you possibly think, unless it's the Decadence Festival, which is the gay festival. Yeah. They're allowed to paint the body parts.
Yeah.
So then they can walk around naked as long as they're painted. Not exactly sure how they get away with it, but hey, they get away with it. But it's the city is a strange place, and it is not for children, ladies and gentlemen. And I tell my friends this all the time. New Orleans is a lot of fun if you're adults.
It is not. It is not
It's
Las
an adult
Vegas.
city. It's not for children. There's no places to stick your children unless you go to a casino. I guess you could drop them off at a casino, but it's just no place for children, people. It's the quarter. I mean, you can go take them to the museum or something like that, or maybe to the aquarium or something. But really, it's an adult city. It's day and night. It's really designed for adults. You got hundreds of art galleries you can walk through down there. I mean, they're just everywhere.
Art galleries. I've only been there twice for conventions, and I got to walk around a little bit, but not much. I didn't get to really tour anything. So
they got these little old nook galleries you find that have probably been there. They're probably older than you and I put together, and they're just in little niches. I found one of Gary Harrison's works there one time, who was one of the guys who did some of the original Mardi Gras posters, or some of the ones in the 70s. He did the Devil and Angel series, and he always did a full size oil. We're talking full size. Just about 6 foot by 3 foot or something. And I just stumbled across one day, and I was talking to a guy, and the guy's like, "Well, it's dusty and dirty. Give me. I think he said, give me $2.99." I just said, "Really?" So I got the truck, took it home. When I sold it, just before I sold it, it appraised at $85,000. And but you find things that I hear people all the time talking about. They find this, they find that. They find pieces of art that should be in a gallery somewhere, but somehow or another got stuck off a shelf, and it's just collected dust. I got a piece in my living room. It's just a floral piece, nothing special, big picture. We were looking because this house has big walls. We have 12-foot ceiling, so I said, "Baby, what's that hiding in the dust over there? Big green, pretty flowers." I looked at the picture and I recognized the signature, but I asked the guy, "What do you want?" He said, $35. Okay, no problem. Bring it home. I think currently right now it's somewhere around 26, 27,000.
You can't beat that, man.
Yeah, and people said, "We got an eye for art." I said, "No, I don't have an eye for art. I call it luck." It's had nothing to do with eye. But I listen and see, like hanging out with y'all down there at the judges and stuff. I've actually learned quite a lot about I still can't draw a stick man, mind you, but I've learned a lot about a lot of things and how it works and how talented some of y'all really are. How many of y'all really have nice oils and stuff like that. I got to be honest, and this did take me back a little bit. I was surprised how many of the illustrators or artists, I should say, actually had oil paintings that were judges. Because I meet a lot of illustrators and they don't. When I say oil, they look at me like,
yeah,
it's hard.
Why
no? Yeah. Oil's tough work. So Joe, when I went to SCAD, the Savannah College of Art and Design, and we had two different programs for painters. We had Illustrator and we had Painter. The painters generally were working with oils. The illustrators were generally working with acrylics. And then there were some others that, because of I like watercolors. You know, when you're a kid, you get those little pads, you put water on them, and you paint things. I discovered this stuff called gouache.
Yeah.
Larry, you probably know about it. It's basically a toothpaste tube. It's liquid paste, colored, water-based, and it is some of the most vibrant colors. I think it's better than not better than oil, but I think it's better than acrylics. And I have a set of gouache upstairs, and I love working with it. But I can't draw a picture. I can't draw the human body to save my life. I can't draw a hole in a paper bag to escape. But you give me a landscape, you give me a fruit, I'll draw the crap out of it and put color on it.
He was telling me, he said, I like your paintings because you got landscape. And I said, I love landscape. And if somebody said you can't paint the human figure anymore, I would do landscapes. And all my landscapes, 99.9% are made up. Because as I was I finally realized just this year, a lot of people ask, how did you learn to paint so well? How did you learn to draw so well? You're just greatly talented. And I thought, well, if I was talented, where's it at? I mean, what part of my brain? And I've thought about this, and I finally just figured it out. I am, if I look at something, and like a tree, trees, they're not all stamped out. You know, they're all different. You know, it's like a fingerprint. But you look at a tree, and I would walk around. I remember laying up against trees and looking at the bark just almost as close as I could look. How's the bark made? The shape of it. In other words, I learned the anatomy of a normal tree. And what I found out I have a good visual memory. That's it. Word memory is not worth a shit. But visual memory, if I look at something and really walk around and stare at it, I can probably draw it to get within 85 to 9% of whatever they look like. In other words, you'll know what it is. And I think that's where my talent's at. And being able to take that from my mind and draw it, because I can picture it in my mind how I want it to be. I'm just trying to make, when I'm drawing or painting, I can tell when I do something wrong because it's not what I wanted. But it's so the painting part is you learn. I like oils because you can do anything with oil, and I mean literally anything. And most of my paintings, I've got my own little mixture. My painting is dry the next day. I can paint all day long. Come the next morning, it's dry to the touch. Maybe a little bit tacky, but you know it'll be dry in 2 days. And
I don't know what it is. I don't. Maybe it's something from my parents, but I've always had a fascination with oils. I don't. It's a weird thing. I mean, don't get me wrong. I like there's a lot of artwork I like. And when I was young, I was a big gamer. But there's something about oil painting that maybe it takes me back or makes me part of the painting. I don't know what it is. Maybe forced looking. You know, when I was a kid, two of the schools I was going to, one of the things we did was regularly go to art galleries and art museums, and even to the Metropolitan and the big ones. And I think I just somewhere along the line, that's what stood out to me. I also like the touch, the texture, the way it feels. It also helps me to kind of zip back. I don't know. I don't know how to really explain it, but for a lot of oils, for me, I feel like I'm in them. You know, I missed out because Van Gogh was down here recently, and I just wanted to see his colors. I'm not the biggest fan of the things he actually painted, but I am a fan of the use of colors. And I would have liked to see it in person, but they're not gonna let you touch it without breaking your damn arm or something. So
no, yeah.
But you know,
I've almost gotten thrown out of it. I was at the Van Gogh Museum in Amsterdam. I almost got in trouble.
That's the place to go.
Trying to touch one. I was at the Louvre and looking at, I forgot what the artist was, one of the famous old artists. And I thought, I just want to touch it. Just say I touched it. And I was leaning closer and closer, and my hand was coming up. And I didn't see a guard. He goes, looked at me, shook his head, no. I went, okay.
Don't touch, buddy. Don't touch. You want to go to jail, touch.
Yeah, touch it. You're going to jail. Probably tell an alarm or something. I don't know.
But, you know, I'm thinking when all these people did all this artwork, did they really think their artwork was going to be encaged and never been able to be touched?
No, I don't think.
Yeah, I don't either. Because, I mean, a lot of it looks like that's part of the art to me. But then, you know, like I said, I'm not a critic by any means. people ask me all the time, like, you know a lot about art. I said, only because I've been hanging out with the Writers of the Future gang for the last 4 years. That's the reason I know as much as I do. I was talking with a group. I didn't realize how much I absorbed from y'all, especially from you and a couple of the others. I guess from listening to y'all talk. So I was talking with somebody the other day, and we're talking, and he's like, you know these terms? I said, yeah, it's some damn writers I hang out with. I mean, these illustrators I hang out with. She said, what do you mean? What illustrators? And I started naming them off. He's like, how do you get the, this guy went off. He's like, Joe, do you know who these people are? I said, yeah, I see him every year. He's like, well, I am just so bleeping jealous. I'm like, well, dude, win the contest. And he's like, what do you mean win the contest? I said, go to writersofthefuture.com, submit your art, submit your book, win the contest, and you can meet him yourself. And he's like, really? I'm like, yeah, really. Writers of the Future. And ladies and gentlemen, by the way, writersofthefuture.com. If you want to get this lovely book behind me, no one, I don't get a commission, smart ass. it's galaxypress.com. No, they got a lot of good stuff over there besides that. And for you, for people like me, this is an audio this year. So it is an audio book also.
That's good.
Mm-hmm. Oh, and to who asked me that yet? So I have been listening to Mission.
John or Jim Meskimen?
Wait. Oh, it's Jim, right? The guy who does the voice.
Jim Meskimen.
Yeah. He was just on the network a couple of weeks ago. Yeah, and they get a great job on. Right now, I'm listening to Mission Earth, and it's. I'll say this. It's really big. I mean, I think I've already got 30 hours into it or something. It's I forgot how many chapters. It's just big. It's going to take a good month to listen to it, but it's a lot of great sound effects and a lot of great stories in there. Right now, I'm listening to Sultan Grace and I can't think of the good guy's name. Some of this stuff is hilariously funny.
What kind of podcast is it? I mean,
well, no, this is something that I think this is the last book L. Ron Hubbard wrote. So he wrote Battlefield Earth. Well, he wrote Mission Earth. And this is a whole entire different kind of story. And I mean, it's interesting. The protagonist is a complete, utter slob, a secret agent kind of guy. I mean, he's just an idiot. I can't even say it any nicer than that. The other guy who's playing the good guy, he's like a prince.
The exact opposite of James Bond.
Yeah, just completely opposite. And one guy's got all this secret service, and the other guy has none. And right now he's living in a whorehouse in New York. And so that's what I'm saying. It just progresses along. You're kind of like, wait, he was fighting with the mob, he kills him off, he's off, got $100,000. I'm like, what the hell's going on here? So it's all I can say, people, is the thing is crazy. It progresses, and I'm listening to it. Eventually I'll do a review on it for John and Galaxy Press. Probably be another 2 months before I finish it, but it's fun to listen to, and it gets better as it goes along. That's all I can tell you. And I don't know, might be able to get the book, but I don't think you can get the audio yet. And I don't think it's available. I got it by special interest. Yes. Shh. Anyway, what you got for live? What is that, Carolyn? Carolyn Reese. Why I know your name? I know your name from. Oh, because your sister was in here earlier. That's why I know your name. What's up, Miss? I live in the Bronx. I'm from the Bronx. You shouldn't have a deep voice like that for a girl. It could be scary. I'm just saying, I am from the Bronx. No, baby, come on. That's if I was, whoa, baby, were you talking to me? No. That reminded me of that song Lola, man. Anyway, I'm sorry, I got sidetracked. Yes, he does. I'll pull some dragons up in a few minutes. Actually, I was picking on him and a friend of ours, April, who was one of the winners last year, to do some dragons. I want to get I want to get 6 artists. I want to get 3 known and 3 maybe winners, and I'll have them do a dragons, and we'll put it up on one of our pay for event things and maybe donate the money to something. Because they're just really, really talented. Yeah, well, no, it'd be fun. It'd be like a contest. We'd let y'all pick. You'd have to pay to vote. Yes. Well, I don't know. We might split it between us. We might do something else. You never know. It's not so much about the money. It is about the event itself. No, we can't.
We definitely got to help Larry get out of debt. He still owes money.
That's right. He does. He owes money on a damn Corvette, people. And his wife don't look like she's fooling around with this stuff either. She's like, hey, where's my money? She might put interest on his ass, y'all. Y'all better watch out.
You're right.
No, she might make me pay interest. Mine would be maybe pay interest. I'm just saying. See, there's a dragon right there for whoever just asked me just now. And wait, why can't I find what I'm looking for? There it is. Okay.
Yep, I know that picture.
I think everybody knows that picture.
So I've seen this picture
Yeah,
around a
it's
couple of
kind
times.
of famous.
You know, when
Damn it.
I had to do that cover for D&D, basically they're going to redo it. So I put a whole party in there.
Stop it.
And this image right here was in the background, except the dragon was looked more straight ahead at the whole party. So I took it into Gary Gygax for approval, and he just looked at it. He said, "That's too much. I want it simple, really simple." And he got down, looked at it, and he said, "I like that part right there in the middle, that dragon and that fighter." And so I went back to my desk and just traced. Well, I had the drawing already, and just I took it over to what they used to call them Lucy. It's where you could magnify things and trace over it. So I blew it up to about the size I wanted to paint it, and then I redrew the head. I just turned the head around to face him, and just painted that. Oh, and what he said when he was picking it, before he said that, he said, "I want something to jump out and grab you." He looked down and he said, "Like that right there." And he pointed to the image in the middle. I said, "Okay." So I went back and painted that and took it back to him. He said, "That's perfect." He said, "That's Dungeons and Dragons." I said, "Okay." And I never dreamed that it would be what it become. It's an icon, and
Yeah.
at least for gamers and stuff. And
Oh yeah, that picture, the one you sold, the red box picture. I had that box. It's gone now, but I had that box with the red dragon on the front.
Yeah, I think they're starting to turn into sort of collector's items now. Some of these.
Oh yeah.
Oh
Right.
yeah, I don't doubt that even a little bit.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah, and all these are on my website. I've got a lot of. That's the Dragonlance. That was a top commission for. I can't remember now, but that was one of the last. I don't know if it was the last big commission painting I did. No, it was next to the last commission painting I did, and that's the 4 Women of Dragonlance. And I do 2 different size prints on that from my website, and I also can print it on canvas, and
Nice.
and so it looks like a painting. But yeah, that was yeah, I don't know. They were fun days. I loved working there, and I hate to say it, but I really enjoyed my life.
I know that picture.
it sounds like it was fun.
It was. I mean, I
Or
wasn't.
is, I should say.
We made a living as long as we were making a decent living, and I could send my kids to college and stuff. I was tickled to death, and I always managed to squeak out enough money, some little pieces here and there to get me always had a hot rod around. I love cars. And, I think that's a Southern thing too. Well, no, it's all over California and everything, but I still love cars. But yeah, those paintings, that one there, that's Keith Parkinson, the one that's holding the dragon's horn. That's holding.
Is it?
Yeah, he posed for that, and Clyde Caldwell, I think, posed for the guy in the red hood on the right. A waitress where we ate lunch at a lot, posed for both girls. And anyway, I think I've got
again, baby.
It's bad outside for allergies.
Oh,
But
yeah.
anyway, that was a fun painting to do, and I liked it. And they
The waitress ought to have been thrilled, huh?
She didn't know what's mad. She just know we work for TSR, that crazy company that made that game. Bunch of artists around. But I decided to do this little runt dragon just to show people how tough dragons are, and because they're all proud they killed this little old runt dragon, and down here at the bottom there's a little box down there. It's a little blurry, but that's the dragon's treasure. It had a little box of gold.
Yeah.
So they got that, and they're all proud. And the title of this is Dragon Slayers and Proud of It. And they were all proud.
That's right there.
Yeah.
It's hello, baby.
Hello.
Hey, Mama. This looks like somebody I'd be talking to here. Hello, baby. What you doing there?
That.
But by the way, listeners, this is an R-rated show now.
Yeah.
It's been an R-rated show the whole time. People don't get no ideas. The show's always R-rated.
Hey, it's art. Keeps you slide a little bit on art. I think this was a drawing I did a little commission drawing. I did some commission drawings. I'd do some for myself and so. Girls always sold no matter what.
Yeah.
Um, if I need a little extra money, I'd do a cute barbarian girl and put up for sale, take it to a convention and sell. And of course now those things. Oh, back then I would sell them for $500 or something, $1,000, and $1,000 for a drawing. I thought that's crazy. And now, crap, they're going for a lot of money, and most people won't sell them. I've talked to collectors and they won't sell. Well, they like it. That's good.
Yeah, they like it. That's good.
Yeah.
I mean, barbarian away. Hey, babe, what you mean? Wait, I just went too fast. Okay. Oh, wild elf fighter. Okay.
Dragon.
Oh, this chick looks pissed, man. What is this?
Well,
she looks like she's about to hurt somebody.
they just been in the, well, actually, I read the books. Actually, she didn't get involved in the battle. She was a fighter, though. And, but I wanted to put her on the scene. And that was her real good friend. It was one of the main characters of Dragonlance got killed. And she's walking up to him and she's sad and shocked and hurt. And they've been fighting. And that became a really popular print. I've sold a ton of those prints. And I don't know. I look back now. I was young when I was doing some of these things, and some of these are pretty good things, man. I don't know if I could do it that much better now.
I say, I ain't sure.
There's a few things I could correct on, but I look back at some of the paintings and I think I was painting out of my mind. I don't know if I could do better now. And of course, I was in my prime then, through my 30s and 40s, just cranking them out. And then as I got older, taking on private commissions, and then I got tired of that because a lot of times they wanted stupid stuff, and I didn't want to paint it. Some of them wanted good stuff, and I like those. And so now I'm just painting for myself. I've got a big painting going right now. I've been working on the woods in the background, the trees and stuff, and I'm still working on that. And this one's just for myself, and I don't plan on selling it. Probably my kids will one of these days.
Yeah, they'd be like,
Well, made enough money. Well, my kids are doing okay. I don't think they'll.
No, see, that's a difference when you leave stuff behind and your family's in good shape. They really won't get rid of it. They'll keep it and maybe give it to their grandkids or their great grandkids.
So they get grandkid and like, hell, I'm selling this crap.
They're like, what is this? What? Grandpa was crazy, man. We just need to sell this stuff.
Weird stuff. Yeah, that's old stuff. I like new stuff.
Currently, I got I'm a great grandfather, and don't ask.
Staff mate.
Don't ask. Yeah, I am. So my oldest, her daughter is 37. She had 2 kids, and one of them decided to have a kid. So,
well, I'm older than you.
I know. Tell me about it. I'm a baby, man. I can't be having this kind of stuff going on. But
my oldest grandchild is 18, and my youngest one's like 11. I've got 4 grandchildren, and, so I can't believe my oldest grandchild is 18. But
yeah, it's and then my son, my youngest, he just got married and just a couple of weeks ago. So we'll see if there's some more babies on the way. I told him, I said, you waited too long. I'm too old now. I got other things I want to do. I said, I'm going to go buy a boat. He's like, Dad, I told you, man, you wait too long, what might happen. And so sometimes, things happen, man. So I want to spend that money on something else. It's one of them things. Sooner or later, he'll have, a couple just to make somebody crazy.
Dragonlance again. That's all the major characters in the book.
Mm-hmm.
The basic, when it starts out, the first book, you'll meet all those characters. And so when I wanted to paint this, and everything had to be done pretty quick sometimes with TSR, especially if it was a hot project they knew they could sell, then they wanted the painting done in a week or something, or 2 weeks the most.
Oh, wow.
nothing to finish oil paint. And so I grabbed artists in the studio, and I got my wife. If you move it over a little bit to the, I think I can move it. No, I can't. Yeah. The girl that's looking up with the dark hair was my wife. The girl behind her was another girl that worked in pre-press.
This one right here is your wife?
Yeah. Jeff Butler back there. Jeff Butler here. Jeff Beasley posed for one of these, but that didn't look. I had to change their faces, but with Betty, she looked like the character, and this girl looked like the character. And then so I had to paint this as quick deadline. So man, the background stuff was just put in there like in a day, and then I started on the characters, and then the foreground was done fast. The landscape was done really fast, but most of the time I spent on the characters and the campfire and everything.
Yeah, they just. Well, it's good. Looks stay still picture.
I used to not use models all the time, and then with the more commercial I had to get, even at TSR, they started making more money. They want to put out more products.
Yeah,
so
it always is.
Your deadlines got shorter and shorter and shorter, and so then to save time, I can draw a human, any kind of human, freehand, no problem. But it might take me longer. I might have to redraw it a couple of times to get it the way I want it. Back then, you didn't have that kind of time, especially doing commercial work. So Clyde and Koa always used models. And so I started using models, and Keith started using models. It saved a lot of time if you could just pose the body what you wanted. And that's all you needed. Just you be in a t-shirt and jeans. That's close enough. And you just get that body language you want, and then use your photo for reference, and then just go to it as fast as you can. You like some of these figures, most of the figures was drawn in a day and a half for this painting. So it went pretty fast. And
so
then,
let me ask you this: when you paint these from a picture, when I was at art college, I went there for video production, but they made us take drawing and painting classes. So in one of the drawing classes, they made me take a selfie, 4 selfies, but I had to take a picture of myself, or have someone take a picture of myself, and then I had to take the actual picture and put 1-inch grids around the whole picture, and then I had to put 1-inch grids on, or larger grids on a canvas, and then draw my picture onto this canvas block by block, and it was hard, and I missed it. So my picture was like
a bit lopsided or something.
It was offset. I was down 2 blocks and over 3 blocks, so I messed up on it. But is that how you? Is that the best way to transfer from a picture?
Usually, when the painting is a lot of the paintings we've done at TSR, they didn't need to be big. They's all going to go down no matter what. They're reduced, and so we would do them like that. Painting was probably at that time when it was really cranking them out was about 14 by 16 inches, something like that.
Yeah.
Then we got up into 20
standard drawing pad size.
Yeah, and so I was drawing 1-to-1 basically.
Yeah.
And then as paintings got bigger, and I wanted to paint bigger, and you get one you really want to do right. We got up to 20 by 30s, 30 by 40s, and we always had some kind of a. When I was working at places like that, they had I just take it as a photo. They had a photo lab like on site, and the process type and film and everything else. And they had a camera. I'd say, blow this up for me, and so they could blow my drawing up. Or before I've used what they used to call Lucy's. You stick your drawing down a board, and you get up here at the top, look at it, and it would enlarge it, and you bring it into focus, and then I could throw a piece of tracing paper over and trace my original drawing, and so to get it up. The only time I've scaled them off when I was doing really big paintings, then I would do the grid scale and everything. And but yeah, and now I draw things at a comfortable size. And I draw it neat. I draw a lot of my finished drawings ends up on tracing paper because I just draw, and then I lay a piece of trace paper over it. I go, in a pad. I just turn the next sheet and draw over it, make correction, turn another sheet, draw over it. And my final drawing, the good drawing, is finally what I'm going to use is on a piece of friggin' tracing paper. But that's all I need for the painting. And then that you can blow up to scale.
Well,
You can blow it up in Photoshop, you know.
are you the fox in this picture? I'm just saying. Yeah, I'm asking if you the fox in this picture. It says
Yeah,
Slippery
if I
Fox.
was in a picture, I'd probably be the fox or the fake blind rabbit. His sign says "Help the Blind," and she's walking by. I did 3 paintings like that with little characters. I used a fox and a rabbit in at least 2 of them, maybe 3. And well, my third one I haven't painted yet. I was wanting to paint that since I retired. It's one called Going Fishing, and they're passing her on a path in the woods, and a girl, a sexy girl, and the old fox is carrying his fishing pole over his shoulder, and the fish hooks, he's hooked her little tunic, whatever, and pulled it up, and she sort of turned around. It's almost like the one that you saw forever of the girl at the beach, and what was it? Dog is pulling her bikini bottom down. And
Yeah.
it's like that. I always thought that was cute, and so he's sort of pulling her dress up with the hook and the supposedly blind rabbit. He's really looking around and checking around.
You don't look blind to me.
Yeah, he's not very blind.
And I see Larry has no problem with anatomy here. It's well drawn. I was thinking, damn, man, that could have been a picture there. It's who's that? Oh no.
Yeah, cool.
I had to do that in a week from beginning to end. And that was a quick one. And that was when computers were just starting to really come in. Before Photoshop was made, I guess, you know.
Yeah. Before the invention. It's I know I asked a lot of illustrators now what their favorite.
Cool. Is that an Etten?
Huh?
Is it an Etten or just a regular giant?
Just a regular giant, like a hill giant or something.
Yeah, hill giant, definitely.
And I've been offered all kinds of money for that. It's one of the most popular paintings I ever did, and I liked it. I got it for me, and it was used on TSR products, but I got to paint whatever I wanted to paint, and they liked it so much they published 2 or 3 times. And but yeah, I really liked. That's Keith Parkinson played the dead guy.
Played the dead guy, Keith again.
She's the dead guy.
The blonde-haired girl. That's when I was working. I was still doing some freelance work for TSR, but Keith and I had a studio in Lake Geneva. That's where TSR is at, Lake Geneva, Wisconsin. And our studio used to be like a clothing store. It had big glass windows and a glass door. And so people could see. And so there's this couple did it twice. I used a couple they was looking in, and I thought, man, the painting I had to work on right then. It's like, I needed a guy and a gal. And so we opened the door and let them in. They were like blown away with the art. I said, would you like to model for me in a penny painting? They sure. So we threw a cape on them and a few things. And I got a rough photo of them and I painted them. This one was the same thing. This girl come by the studio and I said, want to be in a painting? And she said, sure. So I just had her kneel down and put her hand. I think I had 2 or 3 books stacked up. I said, lay your hand on a book. And I put some cushions down so she wasn't flat on the floor. And then she left. I had a picture and I had Keith lay down across the cushions like a dead guy. Took a quick shot of him, and that's it. And the rest, I drew the figures from them, and the rest was just from my imagination.
And away you go.
That was a book cover. It was the first of a series that sold a lot, and the series went on for a long time. Scroll down where I can see the title. Crystal Shard. That was the first book of a series. I forgot the name. And that, I think the art, I think they put me on because they think the story was good. It was, oh man, I forgot the name of the series, but I did that one, and then I quit TSR, and then I think I'd quit when the rest of the books come out.
Said time to move on, baby.
Dragonlance.
Mm-hmm.
And,
I'm glad y'all know all these things. What was that, Denise? No, they geekier than I am, and you know I'm a pretty damn geek.
Yeah, I've been playing D&D since 1977, or at least. Yeah.
You've probably seen the Dragonlance books, the first editions and stuff that came out. Did you? Or you just played?
I had some Dragonlance books in my book collection, but there was a horror story when I moved out of Maryland up to here. I won't tell the why, but my most of my books didn't make it.
Oh, that's bad.
Yeah, it was sad. All of my AD&D hardcover books, Anarch Arcana, Player's Handbook, DM's Guide, all of that didn't make it, and I'm really upset because my friends want to start playing again, and we don't want to play 5th edition. We want to play, the original 2nd edition, the hardcover books.
Yeah. I think that's where I was playing. I played when I was up there at work, and we had a campaign and ran almost the whole time I worked there. And then when I went freelance, I didn't have time to. We did start another game. Keith was the DM. He's a good DM, and we started a game in our studio. And some of the TSR employees that worked in gaming and other artists would come over there once a week to our studio, and we ran a D&D game there for about a year or so. And then when I moved back down here and totally freelance, I didn't have time to play. I couldn't game anymore. It was done, and I really hated that because I love playing.
Yeah, that's who is this? Jackie Lease wanted to know she said, I've never played D&D. What was the average length of a game?
As long as you want it.
That's what I was thinking.
I've known games to go on for 20 years. It's like you're writing a book, and you can end it whenever you want to, all of you together, each person playing. There's no game on earth like it. A role-playing game is the most. That's what sold me to make me go work for them. I'd played D&D once, and I always liked games. I played every kind of game, Monopoly, this and that. And then a guy where I worked at Fort Knox, this before I was hired at TSR as an illustrator, this younger artist come in, and every lunch there'd be some high school kids come around. They'd get around his desk, and they was playing a game for an hour. And I looked at the books. He was playing books. It's like there wasn't no pieces. There wasn't no, they just rolled dice, different weird dice. And finally, after they left, I said, "What game are you playing?" He said, "Dungeons and Dragons." He said, "You all would love it if you play it." So about a month later, I said, "Let's play it." And so we started the game, and we got to play about 3 sessions at lunchtime. But our lunch was going 2 hours long, and our boss stopped us. But I already fell in love with the game. I've never seen a game like it. The players make the game.
Yeah, that's the way you want the game to be. That's the kind of game you want to be in.
You shape the game. The dungeon master's got to be sharp. The guy running the game, he's got to be thinking ahead and have maps and stuff pre-planned, and he can control the direction you go in. Let's say if he's got a big castle laid out, just it's his drawings, and he knows what monsters are in it and everything else. He's planted ahead of it, so he will convince you somehow in the game. He'll make things happen to where you need money. So
you need money. You need money, man.
There's gold in this castle. But there's some monsters up there, and we're like, wow, we'll fight monsters. So you take off to get the gold. And that's where the game goes. It's all the crap he throws at you, and you got to be on your feet, and you got to make sure you have a cleric because you're going to die a couple of times. He's the one to bring you back to life. And,
you're going to die a couple of times.
The cleric starts charging you if you die too many times. But it's like a soap opera. It just goes, and it ends. And I've known people that play for 20, 30 years. And the same campaign, what they call a game is a campaign. In other words, you get a group of people, and you need at least, I'd say, 4 or 5 people to make it interesting. And you've got all different personalities. You can learn more about people and friends by playing a D&D game with them than you ever made.
Oh, yeah. They used to have what they call the dungeon houses down here. There was one in Louisiana, one in New Orleans, and they played regular. They'd have 4 or 5 games going on there, and then there was one up here. And a lot of times they did them behind like the comic shops and stuff like that. They'd have games going on, but my life has always been too chaotic. Well, I shouldn't say chaotic, but usually just too busy. I couldn't, it was hard for me even because I just liked to game on anything when I was growing up. But the more the school load got on, and I got in the military, and that got on, that kind of slowed things. And then I got out for a little while. I got to play a little bit, And then I said, I was working for a company at the time, and I finally said, screw it, I'm going to work for myself. I can't do this anymore. And after that, my life just became, oh, well, let's work for now, and we'll see what else is going on later on in life.
When I worked at TSR, we got letters from people all over the world, and we posted on big bulletin board. And the most common letters a lot of times was written from a mother telling how she loved that her teenage kids weren't out running around the street. They were all in her basement. She knew where they was at. They were drinking Cokes. They weren't getting any trouble. And they loved it. And the adults too, and a lot of clergy and psychiatrists. If we want to get to a problem, we want to learn a personality of a person. They won't reveal it in medically, no matter how much therapy. But when you start playing a D&D game with them, you get several together, their personalities come out, and you can really tell what a person's more about. And you're just playing a character, and even if you're playing an assassin, your personality still come out to a degree, no matter what,
No, yeah, because it's just part of what you are. I mean, you're going to incorporate it into it.
There's no game like it.
I tell you what, I was playing one of the Civilization games, and I didn't find out till later on you could play it online. So one afternoon I came home, had a little free time, because the Civ games, just a normal game by yourself will take a week and a half to finish. If you get into a game where you're playing 36 countries with all kind of people, it'll last for weeks on end. And I didn't know you could play online. So the first time I ever played online, I got my ass whooped, by the way. But after that, I said, oh, wait, we have nuclear weapons and all kind of stuff. Because it starts out way, with when you're basically cavemen, and then you have to work yourself up. It's fun. It was kind of like a modern day version of Dungeons and Dragons. But it's anything when I get to play with other people, I enjoy. I like to play in groups I can play with, against, for. It doesn't really matter. But I can be the bad guy. I can be the good guy. It does. Actually, I make a good bad guy. So
you're talking about games, though. It's like, this gives you an idea. A few years ago, I got a letter from a person. There's a letter, I think it was, a call or something, or maybe the email. And they were all sad because they've been running a game for, I forgot how many years, playing the second edition, I think. And they were saying, our cleric died. And I thought, oh, well, you can get another cleric. He said, no, the guy that was our cleric died.
Oh,
He was
shit.
like 60 years old. and he had a heart attack or something. And they said, we've been playing all these years since we were teenagers. And our cleric died. And we don't want to get a kid. We want to get somebody about his age to play.
Yeah.
And you got to have a cleric. If you haven't played, a cleric heals you of wounds. He can raise you from the dead. But it's usually going to cost you some money, some play money,
Yeah, still, it's going to cost you, though.
Character you got to have, because you will get killed in D&D, and you're going to have somebody to resurrect you.
Oh, I know that picture.
Jake goes back. I know that picture, man. You
Yeah.
pervert, you. Oh, what am I going to do?
I think I have a poster of that one, actually.
That was a 30 by 40 painting. I was commissioned to do that. Was the old pinup model of Betty Page?
Oh, yeah. Definitely
So-
Betty Page like.
He sent me a lot of pictures of her, and if this was clear and really in focus, you could really see it looked like her.
Oh,
Yeah, I don't know why
don't
we
even
have
have
a
my
little
glasses
blur
on. I
going
can
on.
see it.
Yeah, we got just a tad bit of a blur tonight, too, for some
Well,
reason.
you pull it off the website and everything else, so DPI is probably dropping here and there.
Yeah, it's
Painting. I make prints, big prints of that, limited edition. Right.
I bet. Well, the other one was good too. Okay, what's going on here?
It's another Dragonlance.
Yeah, I know that one.
Covers the books.
Green dragon.
This, the actor Joe Manganiello.
Yeah.
You've heard the actor Joe Manganiello.
Yeah.
What's that movie? Is out a few years ago? He was a male stripper, and he's been in a baseball movie and this and that. Anyway, he is a big D&D player, and he calls me up one day from Hollywood, and I'm like, God, I know who you are. And this was his character he'd been playing for years. He wanted me to do a big painting, and that was another 30 by 40 inch painting. So what's 30 by 40? It's a big painting. And so I paid it, and that was one of those $20,000 ones. And God, now I don't know. He's told me he's been offered everything. And I was out at the Writers of the Future. There is, when they have their annual award ceremony. I was there, and I get a call from him. He said, "I heard you." I don't know how he found it. He said, "You're in Hollywood." I said, "Yeah." He said, "Are you doing anything now?" I said, "No, we're done for the day." He said, "I'm going to send a driver to pick you up, and you'll come to my house. I want to show you my house and your painting." So a driver come by, picked me up, took me into Beverly Hills, pulled up to this. I've never been to Beverly Hills, and so I thought it was more open, but it's hilly and a lot of trees and all the houses. You can't really hardly see a house. They got big gates around a lot of them. So he pulls up in front of this. I could see the big roof of the house sticking up and a big gate. And his wife is whatever. She's on America's Got Talent. She's one of the judges. She's an actress and been on different things. And so he opens the gate for me, meets me, takes me down to his game room. Beautiful. And he said, "Here's where I'm going to put the painting." This is before I finished painting it. And later he sent me photos, and he hung on one of those big walls. And his wife came in, and so they took me out to eat someplace in Hollywood. And we got this SUV. He had a big battle axe laying there, between the seats, the bucket seats, and the handle going back toward where I was sitting in the back. And she started fussing. She said, "You're going to get stopped sometimes, and the cops are going to see this big weapon, and they're going to arrest you, and they're going to take you to jail. Get rid of this thing." And he said, "Nobody's going to do that." So he just turned it around so the blade was back there with me, and the handle sticking up. He said, "They look through the window, they won't see it." Well, she was fussing. She's worried about it. But of course, nothing happened. But he's really into D&D, and this was his character, and that was a world he lived on. And he loved it. It was a big pain. And I do make prints of that too.
That's cool. I have a couple of good stories for you. They're more personal. Dave Arneson wrote the modules, Adventures in Blackmore, DA4, I think is the number. And I was playing that in college, and one of my friends gave me a cat, and I was trying for weeks and weeks to name this cat.
Yeah.
And finally, I just gave her the name Blackmore.
Yeah.
She's a Maine Coon. She was, a little kitten. She fit in my hand, and her tail was longer than her body. She finally grew into her tail, but I called her Blackmore. And then she was a big, long-haired, fluffy Maine Coon, and had just a few tiger stripes of brown underneath the black. So that's why I called her Blackmore. She was more black than any other color. And then my friends gave her the name Slack Ass Always Underfoot as her middle and last names. She was always constantly getting between our feet and tripping people up.
Yeah.
And then that cat passed away. But at the same time she passed away, someone that I knew had another cat they were trying to get rid of, and it was another female Maine Coon.
Yeah.
So she was resurrected into this new body. And I know she was resurrected because she recognized me right away, tried to jump out of the truck when I picked her up. She hit her face in the window.
Yeah,
I took her home. I brought her home. I put her down, and my other cat recognized her. She recognized him. She's like, "Hi, how you doing?" And she ran right to where the food was. Like she knew where everything was in the house.
Now
this one is Black 2, Tear Ass Always Underfoot, because she runs everywhere. She's not as lazy as the first body. So that's a funny story. But my friends and I in college, we played Dungeons and Dragons every Sunday. And in Georgia, you can't buy alcohol on Sunday. So we all had to buy our booze on Saturday so we could have beer for the game. And we were playing a dungeon. We were in a actual cavern. And we came upon an underground lake with a dragon, a big, huge red dragon who came up out of the lake and blew fire on everybody. And I had some fire protection on me, but what I saw was half of my party die. And 3 of them that survived ran up and charged the dragon. Yeah. So I had a choice of either being the cleric, either trying to help the people who died, or help the other 3 charge the dragon. So I charged the dragon. And as soon as I charged the dragon, the illusion he cast on us was dissipated on me. And I looked down, and 200 feet below me, there's no lake, but below me is the dragon and the real rest of my party down there fighting this thing. God. And I asked the dungeon master, "Am I going to make it to the other side?" He says, "No." And I said, "There's no way I can turn around and grab onto the side behind me." He's like, "No." He's like, "I'm going down." He's like, "Yes." At the time, the commercials were those Point Break commercials where people were jumping out of airplanes with like snowboards, and snow surfing in the air with parachutes. So I had a +5 shield with like heal spells and stuff in it. So I was like, all right, I just take my +5 shield and I ride it down to the dragon's head, and I aim for the dragon's head. My DM says, all right, roll a 20. Rolled my D20, natural 20. Bam! I slam off of the dragon's head, dead. I die instantly as I fell 200 feet.
Yeah.
I stunned the dragon for about 4 rounds. My friends were able to cut the dragon to ribbons. Right before he was about to breathe on him, he comes out and they kill him before he breathes on them. They leave my dead body in this thing for a week while they steal all the treasure and take it back to our place. But from that point on, I had from that dragon's body an armor made for my character. He can swim in lava with the armor he's got.
Do you have dragon scales? Did you use dragon skin for armor?
Yeah, I did red dragon scale armor on this guy, and he's a 10th level. Later on, he became a vampire, so he's like a 10th level vampire, 10th level cleric, 9th level vampire with immunity to fire. He's one of the baddest characters I've ever had, but that was a fun game. And that's from that point on, I made all of my party pay for any healing spells because they left my body in a rotting hole with a dragon for 7 weeks.
I know what kind of friends is that shit, man? I mean, what is going on, man?
When you go to my Facebook page, it'll show there's about 15 pages of art.
Yeah, I'm actually trying to get this. This is just a mouse pad I'm looking at, but I really like this white dragon, and for some reason, it won't let me share the screen. Maybe this is it.
Go back to where you was at the first. You're in my. Oh yeah, I do to go to the next page.
Wait, Kathleen's Journey mouse pad. Wait, hold on. Let me see if it'll let me do this. What the bleep? Oh, that's why. Okay, I have to add it to the damn page. Now I haven't even found this in the art. This is just for some reason I stumbled across these mouse pages.
If you go back to my Facebook, back to my website, and that front page, you can go through my whole website, page after page. You're only seeing my front page.
Yes, that's okay. Let's get out of here. Where were we?
You was on my you saw the first page of my website.
Okay, let's go back. Go back to the website thing. We'll just go hit the damn dragon in the face. How's that? Give you some shit, huh? Wait, I lost myself. Okay, there we are. So now where am I looking for? What am I doing on here? Let's just put this thing on full screen. Okay. Oh, so here we go. Page 1. Jesus, look at the pages.
Yeah.
Page 2. Ooh, look at these guys. Hold on.
We can't see it.
I know, yeah. I'm sorry. What's Joe looking at? What the hell is Joe looking at over there?
Yeah, share it.
Shit. Hold on, let me get it. Put it on the page.
On that front page, we did a mixture of a little bit of everything: girls, Dragonlance, D&D. Just all kinds of things. And then there's like 20 pages or something, 19 pages. I don't know. There's a lot of pages.
There's a bunch of pages now. That's what I was looking at. Ah, there we go. Okay, now I can see.
See, if you look over in the right-hand corner, right above that Elmore book, it gives you're right there. You was there.
Yeah, right here.
3, page 4. And
yeah, you got a bunch of pages. I just looked at them right there, pulled them down. But this is just page 2. I was just scrolling through them, and there's just some. Oh, hey, baby, I'm moving in with her.
Yeah,
I'm moving in with this chick.
Yeah,
that's it.
I recognize the Might and Magic picture.
Get to have models sometimes being an artist. That's a good part.
That's a good part. I am not complaining about that.
Right.
You know what's a good painting when you have
what happened here? What happened?
On my website, on the pencil drawings, he left them open. On this one, he put a black bar across it because she's topless. And you don't get the black bar with it.
Yes, we don't want the black bar now, people.
There.
Look, if children, if you're gonna have to ask your mom or dad to buy these for you.
Yeah, you have to be 18 or older.
I mean, if you scroll on through the stuff, you didn't even get to the bottom of the page.
No. I just wanted to see something I missed up top.
Oh, okay.
And I went back. Ooh, I like this dragon too.
That's the big commission painting. I was a 30 by 42, the one on the left. And let's see, all 3 of these were commission paintings. Yeah.
Oh, look at that face, baby. Look at that, man. He's like, let me give you a little kissy poo.
Yeah. They spit acid, black dragons, don't they?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Wait, let's go down. Yeah. Whoa, hey, mama.
Nasty
Hello.
creature. Hello.
That's such detail. See, I couldn't draw. It would be just a joke if I tried to draw something like that. It would just be so damn hilariously funny. We'd still be laughing about it. And,
Yeah, my attempts of drawing a live human model were disastrous.
The two paintings on the right here, the middle one and the one on the far right are good paintings. I did those. I'm trying to remember what I did them for, but I had freedom to paint what I wanted.
Oh wait, this is a zombie dude. What is this? Whoa, go back.
Evil wizard. He's got tattoos on it.
Oh, okay, that's what that is.
Yeah, evil wizard or necromancer.
Hey, Red, nice to see you.
So, and he's
Was she a druid?
Yeah, or something like she's pulling these skeletons. He's pulling the skeletons out of the ground. He's a magician, and she's a druid or something. I can't remember. They're gonna fight, and she's gonna have to beat the skeletons too.
Yeah, it looks like she's pulling something out of the earth with those green wispy things.
It's earth power, just like magic coming out of the earth. She's pulling it out. And then that one is. I tell you a weird thing about this painting. And all these have got the Elmore watermark on my website.
Yeah, I was just gonna tell that to somebody. Somebody asked me if that was part of the picture. That's not a watermark. That's so y'all don't steal it, people. That's what
not if you buy it. No, that's so they can't steal it off the internet. Yeah.
See this tombstone over here? See all this little writing?
Yeah.
I just made that shit up. I was thinking like,
oh yeah,
ancient writing, and I was writing,
awesome.
And I did this. Well, I was at DragonCon about 3 years later selling prints, and this guy walks up. He was pretty neat, and after I talked to him a while, you can tell he was very educated, and he was really into, let's say, for a better term, witchcraft, and he was a high up in it. And I'm like, really? He said, how did you do these runes on the stone? I said, the ones on the stone, I just made them up. He said, you made them up? I said, yeah. He said, man, you're hooked into something. I said, what do you mean? He said, I can read that stone. And he said, that's all ancient writings. And I did try to copy, not get a book and copy, just remembered what I'd seen of runes, and some of it's made up, some of it. And
hieroglyphs and stuff. Yeah.
He read me some of it that he could. Some of the ones I made up he couldn't read, but he read me some, and he said it's talking about power and magic, and I'm like, well, I got a little scared then.
Like, yeah, man, that's what you wanted it to be like. I mean, come on.
Yeah.
Hey, I'm not into this. The painting on the left was another big painting I did for myself, and it sold a lot of prints of that. Yeah.
Another censored drawing.
Yeah, they're all. I just made up a big monster coming through the snow. He's like a tank coming through the snow.
Yeah, it looks like a tank.
I think somewhere somebody started using
it looks like a minotaur, sort of.
Yeah, it's sort of a cross between a lot of stuff. And
Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtle.
Yeah.
Don't even start with y'all's Teenage Mutant Turtle shit, Cecil. I don't know. Larry can't draw them. Them are copyrighted goofballs. Yeah, the Ninja Turtles. Like, well, you don't think the Ninja Turtles aren't copyrighted?
You can't just pay on them.
They get upset about that.
That's a portrait of a girl. She used to help me at DragonCon a lot, and she was really built good, really sweet, and she was really good at sales.
That's a good thing there.
Out the eye, people walking by the booth, they're like, whoa. And so they'd stop and start looking at prints, and she'd start talking to them. She had a great personality. And she ended up selling 2 or 3 prints. She's the best salesman I ever had. She sold better than I could.
Hey, that stuff works out, man. It's what was that, Glenn? No, hold on, Jackie. L. Ron Hubbard, Writers and Illustrators of the Future. Yes, that's that's actually what its name is. We call it Writers of the Future, Illustrators of the Future. It just depends what we're talking about because we cut it short. Yeah, Writers of the Future. We're talking about Illustrators of the Future.
Yeah.
Yes, but it's technically, if you want to look it up, it's L. Ron Hubbard's Writers and Illustrators of the Future. You can find it at galaxypress.com. Yes.
So if you're,
I know all their websites by heart.
Don't matter. It's just your work that matters. Go out and judge it. We don't know who anybody
Mhm.
is, teacher, anything.
That's right. So you're going to send it in. Like I said, you can send it in 4 times a year. You can send it in. You're going to send it in. They're going to go through it. They're going to give it to 4 judges. The judges get it with a number. That's all it is a number. They don't know what color you are, what race you are, what sex you are. They don't know any of that.
What country
All
you're
they
from?
get, that's right. They don't know any of that.
Anything.
They get it, they review it, and it goes from there.
We have to pick them out in order. We get about 12 every month, and we just go down 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And then they take the accumulation votes. Let's say number 2 was in everybody's vote, so he's probably rating pretty high, you know.
Yeah.
And so no.
Well, no, Jack, you got you. Okay, I've said this so many times that it's. I could probably retire from this. If you don't submit, you can't win. Okay.
Yeah.
And you can't. You're not going to get to meet Larry unless you win. You're not going to meet any of these people. Well, me, no. I speak at different places, so you can catch me at that place. I'll be in.
I don't go every year. I'll be going this year, I think.
Well, Larry's a lot of fun, and he knows a lot of stuff. So I watch him with the classes, and they pay a lot of attention to him. So, well, some of them are starstruck, and some of them just want to learn, and some are just a combination of both. But I mean, he knows what he's doing.
Well, I do my best and guess the rest. Put it that way.
Yeah, well, you don't get to be where you are by being stupid. That's for sure.
Right. Yeah.
Philosophy is do your best and guess the rest. I work with a older guy. I worked at Fort Knox, and that was his saying. I'd give him his time. I didn't know how I was going to do it. He said, "You do your best and guess the rest." And that's the other one where the couple was looking in our studio door.
Yeah.
And I'm like, "Oh, I run out there and grab us. You want to be the painting?"
And you say Jeff Easley? Jeff Easley was another guy from D&D, wasn't he?
Oh yeah.
Up at the top show?
He's from Kentucky also. We were best friends.
Oh, wow.
The guy on the left was going back to the picture. The guy on the left,
Yeah, Jeff Easley.
Bill Willingham, he was an artist at TSR, early TSR. Then he come back and done some other work, and he shared a studio with us. He was working for a comic book, and he had his own comic book series. And so Bill Willingham posed, and then the monster, a Noel, I think that's what it is, that's standing up by the doorway, was Keith. Keith posted that. And so that was a quick painting, but it was fun to do. And when I say a quick painting, that wasn't 8 hours a day. That was like 18 hours a day, you know. So you work day and night. We were young.
Yeah, it's easier when you're younger.
I'm looking at the watermark. The E in Elmore looks like a Japanese sigh. Is that on purpose?
Signature, that's my signature, Elmore. I just told
the E. It looks like a Japanese or Okinawan sigh. The three-pronged truncheon.
Okay, what does that mean? Does it have any meaning to it? That E?
Mm-hmm.
Or it's just like a letter in Japanese.
Well, it's an ancient Japanese. Well, it's an Okinawan weapon, a Chinese weapon that the Japanese incorporated into their Kubodo style. But it's basically like a short fork, metal fork.
I thought about that when I worked at Fort Knox. We all said, if we ever get to be known, how are we going to sign our name? You know, and there's a guy that worked there. He was in the military, but he was working there, and he was like a genius, but he was very quiet, and he was really funny. When he did speak, it would crack you up. We was gathered around his desk, and he always got a big sheet of paper there, and we was talking. He had all this, and we was all starting to write our names different way. How if we ever became famous, this is how we sign our name. And I was mainly writing mine out some way, and his name was Dave Holly, the guy, his desk, and I asked Dave. I said, Dave, you're really smart about stuff like this. You can come up with these ideas and stuff. I said, how would a good way to sign my name? So he just picked his pen up and just wrote really straight. He could print unbelievably. He just wrote Elmore, but didn't put the middle E. And he left it out. And then when he got finished, he just drew a line through the first E and a line through the second E. And I thought, oh my God, that's a logo. And I said, I'm going to use that the rest of my life.
Yeah.
And some of my paintings, he said, okay. I said, do I have your permission? I said, you did it. He said, yes, of course. Well, skip ahead 10 years. I was at the convention in Chicago, and he's from Chicago. This 10 years he's out of the military and everything else. My booth was packed, people all around me. and some people was bending over in front of me, and I looked past him, and I saw Dave. I hadn't seen him since I left Fort Knox, and he's walking up toward my booth, and another guy was with him. He's a pretty tall guy, big guy. And he sort of splits people, and I recognize him. I shake his hand. He said, the guy was with him. We brought him up there. He said, "This is my friend." He told me his name. He said, "All I want you to do is tell him that I was the one that showed you how to sign your name, because he doesn't believe me." He said, "None of my friends believe me." And I said, "Sure." I told him about the time of the death. He said, "So Dave really did do your name that way?" I said, "Yeah." And I told him that, and I'm going to use that forever. And Dave turned around and said, "I told you." And so his buddy was freaking out. He said, "You did that?" That was a fun painting to do. That was a cover of a Dragon magazine, I think.
And so you had to settle a bet.
Yeah, I just settled a bet, and Dave won, my buddy. So ever since,
yeah, I would hope so.
Yeah.
But it's funny you say that you guys did that, how to figure out how to autograph your stuff later on when you became more well known. When I was bored in high school, that's what I did. It's like, I think one day I'm going to be famous, so I better practice my autograph. So I just started writing my name until I got it down right.
Yeah. Well, that was us. We're like, what if we get famous? We are dreaming, you're young. I was probably, like I said, about 23, something like that, 24.
Yeah.
And I hadn't been published anywhere yet. And just Fort Knox publishing stuff for the Army. And so when Dave wrote that, I said, that's it. So I started, when I signed any piece of art from that point on, I signed it that way. And so when I went to TSR, that was my signature. And when I did freelance for TSR before they hired me, I was signing it that way. I did some stuff for heavy metal at that time, back cover. I signed it. What's so weird, my first heavy metal, I got a back cover. Clyde Caldwell, which worked at TSR, he got the front cover. He was freelancing. And I was freelancing on the side.
There's a Minotaur.
Yeah. And so when I met Clyde, when we hired him at TSR, I said, so I finally meet the guy that got the front cover and I got the back cover. And his front cover was a big mouth, a crazy thing. And he said, I love your piece. He said, I tried to get a cover for over a year. And he said, they finally told me, he said, your paintings he said, we want something that would just jump out and like science fiction stuff, just crazy, just jump out and get somebody's attention. And that painting did. And he said, they told me, well, then they told him, he said, my painting told a story. And it did. You could build a story behind it. You could write a book behind it. And he said, so they were used on the back because there's no printing on it. There's no logos on it. It's just a solid back full color cover. And he said, so really, you got the best end of the deal. And but anyway, it's luck again.
Luck comes into play sometimes. Oh shit! I didn't realize how late it is. It's
my wife's been in bed for 2 hours.
I remember the story request too.
I don't.
Yeah, we still got about 21 minutes you can run for.
I stay up till 2 usually. So,
do you have anybody left watching this?
Yeah, we'll know people are watching. Well, we're talking, and then I'm flipping through your artwork as we're talking, and every now and then I'll stop in and zoom in on something as we're going, like hit a face or something like that when I'm going by. But I mean, there's just so much here, and then that white dragon. For some reason, I really like that white dragon. I don't know. I'm going, but I like a lot of your dragons too.
So. Far right.
Yeah, that is a cool picture.
Click on that, and if you can read it, it says one of the crows is saying to the other one. He says, "Don't know what she's lost. Just hope she keeps looking."
Come on, look at me.
I hate to see you leave, but I like to watch you go.
Have a good day there, young lady.
Zoom in on old crows. You can see one talking to the other one.
Yeah, they look like they're chatting up. There's a lot of good stuff in here.
Yeah. Well, like you said, Joe, what was it, 40 to 50 years you've been painting and doing this stuff. So there's got to be lots of stuff on your website.
On the left right there, the far left, that was done in like 2 days. That one. It was done in 2 days. It was quick, down and dirty. I had to have a cover now. And so it took me a day, half a day to draw it, and then I started painting it. When I finished it, they took it off to be scanned. It was still wet.
Give me the damn thing, man. We need a damn thing now, man. Give me the damn. I get customers like
that. Really down and dirty ones. We hated them. It's one of these afternoon jobs. They come in about noon. We got to have it, so you were at midnight working on it. You didn't go home sometimes, or you took it home and worked all night. Well,
this
was the one on another quickie one. That was
that looks like out of some movie I've seen. Some I can't think of the name of it now. So
I was thinking John Carter of Mars, but I don't think that's what that is.
It could be the old John Carter of Mars.
The last D&D, the highest, it was the gods. You had basic, expert, whatever, and this is the last one, and it was.
That's cool.
That
is really cool.
Yeah. Go for
Centaur with a machine gun. That's not a good cover.
A machine gun, and I kind of recognize that building in the background. Sort of know what that is.
I wish I'd have kept. If I'd have kept these paintings, God, I'd be rich.
Oh, you know.
Sell them. I just sell them to make a living.
That's how it is, though. You got to make a living. That's part of the thing.
That was a quick one. That was a Dragonlance, and they suddenly like, "This is the Dragonlance book. It's the twins." And I'm like,
we've seen those two characters before in another painting too. Yeah,
it was like day after tomorrow, and I thought, "Oh God!" So these were done, like 18 by 22, something like that, or 24. They're small paintings. It was done really, really fast, and I never liked that one because I could have really done better work, but didn't have time. It's just a quickie.
Yeah, that's what happens when you work.
Hey, go to the one on the far right.
Portal 2.
That was done only about a year or so ago. See that archway?
Yeah.
That stone archway. I just want you to look at that. Scroll up a little bit more so you can get all this archway in there. See this thing? That is real. I was in a convention in Italy, and Florence, and I'd been there to different conventions in Italy, and I knew this one guy. He came to a really nice guy, and he was the tourist directory for Florence director. He worked in that, and so I was doing a convention in Florence, and he was there, and he said, "Well, even when the convention closed, he said, I want to take you someplace not far from here. I want to show you something." He wouldn't tell me what it was. So we go for a drive, and then we go out this gravel road, and then he pulled off the side of the road, and we cross a little stream and go up this little, what I'd call a little bottom, if you know what bottoms are.
Yeah.
A little floodplain in the woods and stuff. And there stood this thing, and it's about twice as big as what this shows here, okay? And I said, "What the hell? How old is this thing?" And there was no steps. It was just in the grass. So if she was in her real life, her head would come to about just a hair above her belt. Okay, that's how. If she stayed on the ground with that thing, that's about how tall this is. And you could actually climb up on top of it, go to the side. There's almost like steps, but they weren't steps. Stones were laid where you could actually get on top of it. He said we used to go up there at night on full moons and stuff and sit on top of that and play D&D and scare ourselves to death.
No, man. I bet you it's scared crap out of himself.
How old is this? He said, "We don't know." And I said, "I've never seen anything." He said, "Now I got a thing about a year or so ago. Now they're using it as a big tourist place. They moved it somehow and put it on a hill, and now it's in a park." I don't know how they moved the thing.
Yeah, so instead of leaving where it was, I guess it must have been on somebody's property.
It was out in the middle of nowhere, just on somebody's farm. And
it was man-made originally?
It was man-made.
Yeah,
and
wow.
We don't know any history about it. There's no writing on it. We don't know. It could have been done in the 1800s, 1700s. It could have been done. It was too old to be done. That'd be done over 100 years ago at the latest.
Mm-hmm.
Because it had the fungi and moss and everything growing over it, and the trees around it had grown up around. I mean, they was. And
that looks like Cher up there.
Yeah.
That was a model. It was my wife's cousins. She modeled for me a lot. One summer, she was the kind of girl She was a fun girl, very pretty, sexy. And she got out of high school. She just turned 17 or something. And I knew her mom. And I said, could she model for me? And I said, I know she's underage, but I'm not going to shoot any nude pictures or anything. And her mom said, sure. And I knew when I got to know her, I told my wife, I said, I need to take all the pictures now this summer because by fall, she's going to be pregnant. It's just, she loved life, loved everything. Okay. And she's a fun gal. And sure enough, by fall, she told me, she's, well, I'm pregnant. I can't model for you for a year or so. I said, all right. But she said, my sister can. So I found her sister. She's a little bit older, and she modeled for me some too.
Keep it in the family.
And she was my wife's cousin. There was a lot of good-looking gals in my wife's family.
That's good. It made life easier, man. Find some.
That was good.
What we got?
That was for a role-playing game. I love doing that kind of stuff, just making up shit,
Yeah.
No, looks like it's more fun. It's Christopher, what do you mean? WritersAtTheFuture.com. That's the only place you got to go. What do you mean? Can you get an invite? No, you can't get an invite.
Yes, you can. You submit a novel or a artwork, and you can win and get in. That's
true. You can get in. You can get an invite that way, but I mean, as far as anything else, you can't get an invite.
You can't just come into this out of clear blue.
You gotta be invited.
Unless you know someone who's been nominated and you're their +1, maybe.
Unless you're one of the special guests invited, one of the Hollywood guests, or press, or press, or winners, or judges. That's the only people that get to go, though.
Wow, why couldn't it be open to the public?
I don't know. I guess because there's too many people as it is.
Yeah,
I guess that's probably what it really is.
Yeah, I mean, I saw the video of the awards show. I mean, the hall is packed. I mean, there isn't an empty seat in the building, and there's actually people standing all the way in the back. So it's a full house.
Yeah, there's no open spots.
I always go to my website, LarryElmore.com. That's it.
Well, hello.
This is Jay's next woman here.
Yeah, sexy little naked woodland nymph.
That is a drawing, and to make prints, I just tinted it that color, and I want to paint that before I die. And
it looks kind of like sepia tone, also.
Yeah, I just sepia toned the drawing just in Photoshop, just converted over and made a print of it. It was drawn in regular pencil, and I want to paint it. I still want to paint it, and crap, I'm getting old. I got to get on it pretty soon, I guess. But I like that. She's not really showing anything. Just
no, she's not.
The beauty of a woman and the beauty of nature. That was for EverQuest.
Yeah, I remember that. I remember that girl definitely.
Yeah,
we got a
blue armor.
Yeah,
this one over here on the far right was my daughter and the daughter of one of my other models. Not here, it was on the other page.
Oh no, that way.
Yeah, go back a page.
Go back a page.
Oh, this one right here?
That one right there. Shadow's daughter.
My daughter when she was about 18. And that was the daughter of one of my models. She was older then, but that girl was about 15. And in the book, I was a cover for a book, and the girls were about 16 and 14. So I think it passed. My daughter wasn't real tall and everything. And it wasn't going to be sexy, just two girls. But I was fun.
Yeah, I mean,
I kept that one. I still got that one. I thought I'd pass it on to my daughter.
But your artwork is some of it is almost 100% photorealistic. I mean, you've been doing it so long that you have a really well-trained eye.
Well, I tell you where I was, and I could see it in my TSR days. I could draw really well, but my color, I hadn't really focused on color. I thought about color that much. And I was painting all the time. Keith Parkinson, his gift was color. And he would do a painting and the colors were spot on. And so I would talk to him a lot about color and then I would teach him more about drawing. And so when we shared a studio together, we picked each other's brain. And I started really seeing color. In other words, and I started using this term a lot. Don't just look at things, see it. Look at it. What is that real color? Isolate colors. I carried a piece of paper around with like an index card with a round hole cut in the middle. And I'd walk around if I was outside in the woods or where I was walking, and I'd hold that white card up and look at that color of that sky or that tree. And Lord, once it gets a white, that would be the white of my palette. That color was a lot darker than I thought, or more subtle than I dreamed of. My mom would tell me it's green, it's dark green. When I really looked at it, it wasn't dark green. It was a bluish, greenish, grayish color. There's more distance in the air. And I'm like, oh my God. And I started doing that right before I went to work at TSR. I was getting better. And when Keith came along, it's like his color. Now that painting right there, the girl sitting by the stream, the one on the left, I did that right before that painting helped me get a job at TSR. And that was the back cover of Heavy Metal.
Oh,
I
wow.
did it myself for the fun of it. And it's a spaceship landing. And these little guys come down, and she was getting water by a pool. There's a pool at the bottom, and they're checking her out, and she thinks they're cute. That girl there, she had real long hair. She modeled for me until I moved to Wisconsin, and then couldn't use her anymore. Yeah.
Well, yeah, that's what you got other models for.
Yeah.
It's I forgot all about Heavy Metal. It's been so long since I've seen it.
Yeah. It's still out.
Yeah, it's still out. Well, I know I had just recently seen the titles on it in 2000, but I haven't seen it in a long time. And a friend of mine's like, he said, "You've seen that?" I was like, "Yeah." He said, "Well," I said, "Well, it's fun to watch, man." And I said, "What can I tell you?"
This was the last cover I did for TSR. To change that. If you look at the date down, go down to my name and look at the date. I think down to the left-hand corner.
There it is.
I mean, yeah.
Is it 10? Yeah, it looks like 10.
2010. That was the last painting I did for them because they changed hands and changed this, changed that. Then most artists they got in was doing computer art and stuff. Then freelancers, and I'm like, I'm out of here. I just want to paint original art. That was for Sony. That was a 3-panel painting. So one was a cover, and you flip up, it was a spread for EverQuest. And they put everything but the kitchen sink in it, man. I tell you what.
I see that.
Loaded it up, and I did the characters.
Yeah, you got a dwarf, you got a gnome, you got a dark elf. Everything D&D is in there.
Painting on the far right, in the middle, and the far right, I painted for myself.
This wants to load slow for some reason. Dun, 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 dun. Come on, picture.
She's some witchy woman.
Yeah, she looks very comfortable here.
Yeah.
It's a nice kind of warm.
Zoom over her face.
Yeah, it just looks like a kind of nice warm all the way around here.
You can see.
Kind of has a Xena warrior princess look to the face.
She's got a witchy look, high cheekbone.
It's a great face. I mean,
Yeah. That was fun. This is a big painting. That's the ones I had to sell. That was for myself. I sold for $10,000. And that was those 4. I did 4 of them like that. That was the most I paid for a painting at that time. That was back in 2010.
that's still a good price.
Yeah, it was. I was surprised somebody paid that much. Now I wish I had them back. I wouldn't sell them now though. That was sort of a quickie. That was a D&D thing.
Somebody's getting cooked for dinner.
Yeah.
About to be cooked.
Yeah. You can tell my quick ones. There's not much in subtle color. It's just bam, bam, bam. Get it out. That's a deadline to me.
Oh, look at that wolf.
He's like, "Give me some dinner, baby."
I can't. Well, yeah, he's waiting for it to get cooked.
They better get there faster than that, man. She can be barbecued. What's that, Denise? Oh no, we're getting ready to leave, Denise. Wait, what? What are you talking about? writersofthefuture.com. Yeah, writersofthefuture.com. Go over there and submit your artwork or submit your book or 17,000 words. I don't know all the I don't know what the standards for art is. Excuse me. You'd have to go to the site and read it. Yes, just go to writersofthefuture.com and read it. You can submit 4 times a year.
If you want to go to my website, it's LarryElmore.com. And
Yes,
there, and you can click on them.
Now remember, this will be in the video, people. If y'all forget who Larry is or what it is, you can see the address and everything right here. Hell, you can even see the prices as we're going through. Stop by, pop in. He's got a lot of great one here.
And if you order prints, better do it now because we haven't changed the prices in 10 or 12 years. So we're probably going to up the prices. I'm really cheap when I start looking at other artists. So I'm like,
yeah. Well, $30 is cheap for a piece of art.
The painting on the far right side, that was another one I did just for myself, and it's called the Witness Tree. And you can see there's weird stuff hanging from the tree, and it's from a Place to the Power series. And I don't know.
See, this is weird. See that thing hanging from a tree? So down here, there's a graveyard. We were doing an investigation, or I wasn't. I was just a media for it, and I knew everybody who was doing an investigation. But I had taken him there because I'd passed by this grave. This graveyard's probably 300 years old. Yeah. It's way back in the swamp. What NASA did when NASA took over these 4 cities, when they built the Stennis NASA facility to build the Apollo rocket engines, they took over 4 big cities, actually 5 of them, but they left the graveyards intact.
Wow.
And some of these graveyards date back to 1730, 1710. Wow. And well, we went in one day and we looked, there was a bottle of water on top of every grave. And then there was one of these things right here tied above every grave. And what it reminded me of is like during Halloween, you see the little ghosties that are tied with strings hanging out of the trees. It reminded me of that, but it's not what it was. And I still to this day do not know what they were doing back then. I mean, a lot of these graveyards, people think they can go do magic in. You never know what you're walking up on.
When I was a kid, every once in a while you'd be in the woods and you find an old tree, and sometimes it'd be something tied hanging from it.
Yeah.
And so when I was doing that painting, it was a place for wizards or sorcerers go for power. The one on the left is another one of those paintings I did for myself.
Yeah, that's right here.
Yeah. And that was fun to do. I really spent a lot of time. These are big paintings. And spent a lot of time working at all of it out, the mountains, the skies, and of course, I would work almost around the clock on these. I was just into it.
So you should have cheated and had what's his name, Bob Ross do all your backgrounds, and you just fill in.
Bob Ross was fast, but I didn't care for the problem. The guy that runs my website, Dave Simpson, the computer genius guy. Mm-hmm. He's running my Kickstarter out for me. His dad was in the Air Force, and Bob Ross was in the Air Force. And he said, him and Bob Ross's son were friends. He said, I'd go over to Bob Ross's house and on the weekends, and him and his son would be running through the house playing. That was in Alaska. And Bob would be in there painting, and he'd say, now, boys, don't hit my palette. Don't hit my palette.
Sound like some Ross would be saying.
He's got a Bob Ross original. I tried to buy it from him, and he wouldn't sell it.
It's I ran across Bob when I was a kid, and I was like, "What the hell?" I was watching. I hate to say, I was watching Doctor Who on BBC when I seen him, and I just seen it. And I'm watching him one day, and he's using spatulas and shit. I'm like, how do you? What the hell is this guy doing?
He probably needed to get his effects, you know.
Yeah, so I watched him a couple of times. I'm like, what the hell? Because I'm used to seeing people with brushes and small brushes, big brushes, and he's out there with spatulas and doing shit. And I'm like, okay, Bob, that's your thing, man. I didn't know. What do I know?
I do some of the same effects when you're working with nature. I don't use spatulas, but I use worn out brushes. I keep old brushes. It's worn out, spread apart. They got a weird pattern to them, and they're getting stiff, and so I mix the paint thin and just get enough to dab the brush in it, and it sticks, and you use it like a stamp, and you can just go through and rotate the brush, and you get all these patterns, not controlled. It's instantaneous.
Maybe you should do the zodiac in dragons and in women. I notice every now and then I see a picture in here that reminds me of a zodiac symbol, not quite, but sort of. And of course, you've got so much artwork. I don't know if you need any more. Damn, it's some of the stuff, and you can see the difference in your color as it goes along. It's
not really in chronological order, but yeah,
Yeah, well, I can see the dates. I've been looking at the dates on some. I haven't seen them on all of them, but I've seen the dates on a lot of them. So I've been. Believe it or not, unfortunately, I'm a researcher by trade. So it's somebody told me today, well, you're a journalist. I said, no, I'm not a journalist. I said, you can call me a reporter, not a journalist. I said, it's not. This chick looks familiar.
That's probably one of the models. She's one of the models I use. She was a really well-built girl.
I see that.
You know what? I mean, back in the 90s, late 80s and 90s and early 2000s, there was a lot of well-built girls. I mean, really. And then all of a sudden, all of America started getting fat.
I did not say that. People already said that. I didn't say nothing. I'm pleading the fifth, man.
When I try to find a really well-built model, like the way male or female, it is hard to find. The last time when I was using models, I've got enough photos now that I photograph, I can use them. But the last time I was using them, I had to go to a gym and get girls and guys that bodybuilders. But I didn't want to get them too overbuilt. Where they just started and they built good and had a little bit of tone to them. So I would get those girls to model. And it's hard to find them. They're used to 80% of the women were built really, really good. Young girls and grown women.
Yeah, it's the way people are built today have changed. I didn't realize that. My dad had told me this. My dad was born in 1911.
Yeah.
And he used to tell me that the girls, when he was a young man, looked a certain way, and as he got older, they became more voluptuous. They were skinny is what he used to talk about. And of course, as we got into the Marilyn Monroe era and places like that, and then all of a sudden we went through what I'd call the skinny mini 70s and 80s, where everybody thought they needed to be the size of a thimble.
Yeah.
And now we're back to, well, how can I say this politely? I'm not going to say it. I'll just get in trouble. But really big features. How's that? There we go. I'm just, and it's. A friend of mine was talking about it to me the other day. He says, well,
go back up to the very top of that one.
This one where?
Yeah. No, you already passed the page. Never mind.
Oh, well, we can go back. Hold on. It takes 1 second to go backwards. Click, and where we were 9. Boop. Okay, now where were we? Must have been at the bottom because
never mind. Just forget about it. Because that's it.
Where?
See the bike there?
Oh, yeah, right here.
Yeah, blow that one up. That was one of the motorcycles I used to have. I rode motorcycles. I sold my last one 3 years ago, but I rode motorcycles too for years. I loved, and that was a special built. I didn't have a special built, but it was a Harley engine and everything, and I love that bike. It was really cool. And so I got a model to straddle it.
I remember I had I don't know, we had blown up a car, and my stepfather had a bike. He said, let me say this. He had one of them damn this bike was fast as hell. He said, let me, but he had a tour package on it. Yeah. So this was more like a racing bike that he decided to put a tour package on, which was cool. I mean, it had stereo and all. I was like, okay. So my wife said, I'll never get on and ride. I said, okay. All right. So one day the cars book had to take it to work on the bike. That was it. We were riding for weekends. And then she liked it. Oh yeah, but it took a little while. But after that, she did. But riding, people don't realize. If you've ever been horseback riding, that's like riding a motorcycle. When you ride for a long time, certain parts get numb, your legs get kind of tired. That's it's having that big bike between your legs all day long. But
vibrations.
Yeah, it is. And but I love to ride. I remember when I was a kid, we started out riding. Well, actually, we started out riding mini bikes, then dirt bikes, then street bikes. Then one of our friends got killed, and we took a break for a while, and then we went back to riding street bikes again. And I remember my friend got him a KZ 1100 with a drive shaft on it.
Yeah.
This bike was insanely fast. I mean, he goes one day, let's go see how fast we can get it. I'm like, well, you want to die? He said, well, yeah, he said, live fast, die young, you leave a beautiful corpse, right? And so we're cruising along. He taps me in the leg because he couldn't look up. He couldn't look down without his helmet wanting to blow off. So I had my eye creeping over, and I could barely see the speedometer at 160. And it was very strange.
I wouldn't get that fast. On these country roads around here and everything, it could be animal anything.
Well, we were on interstate and we were cruising, but that was the fastest I had gone in pretty much forever. And then I joined the Navy, and then that was like putting. I remember my first flight in the F-18 Hornet. I was like, "Whoa, what the hell is this, man?" I was hooked. I mean, them damn things are beastified. And I wish I got to fly in the F-35. That would have been cool.
Well, one time I was working at Fort Knox, I had to do illustration like you're in the gunner seat in a Cobra, and helicopter.
Yeah.
And I didn't know what it looked like, and I did illustrate things and everything. And so they set me up, at Fort Knox. There's Cobras out, so they set me up. Took me for a ride in the Cobra. I sit in the gunner seat, which is right down in front. It's got two seats. The gunner is in front, and the pilot is behind it. And their type of flying in combat is not to the earth. That means you go treetop high, and when the trees go away, you get down about 20 feet from the ground, and you're flying fast.
Yeah, you're cruising on.
We go into the woods, and he goes right down in these trees, and I said, and it's blowing the leaves and stuff, the blades, and I'm like, like I talked to him on the radio, I said, what if you hit a limb where that crashes? He said, the blades can click off anything the size of a broomstick. He said anything bigger than a broomstick can get dangerous.
Yeah, you can too.
Yeah, and then he tells me, he said, your target is up front, and the tank sitting way out there in the woods on a little clearing on a hill. And I couldn't see it, and I kept looking. He finally pointed, he said, no, you're not looking far enough. And then I saw this speck out there, and I recognized it as a Soviet tank. They had some T-62s and stuff.
Yeah.
I was at Fort Knox, and Russian tanks, and I recognized them. I thought, God. He said, what we do, we shoot a missile from here, a wire-guided missile. You would guide it in, and he said, then quick as it hit, where you knew it was going to hit, he said, then I will tilt my rotor blades, cut the wire in half, and we haul ass out of here. And I was like, that's pretty cool, man. That'd be fun being a Cobra pilot, but scary. Ain't that?
Them pilots do some crazy stuff. Oh, girls and guys, we got to go. It's midnight. It's past the witching hour.
It's 1:05 where I'm at.
We have a show following us, unfortunately. So, yeah, Spaced Out Radio with Dave Scott is on. So as soon as we leave, he'll be up and running. I hope you enjoyed this. Everybody at Roku Television, I hope you enjoyed. Don't forget now, we posted the Kickstarter. So be sure, if you can't find it, you can always come back here and find it in here. But I would just type in Larry Elmore Kickstarter 2023. And I don't think you have any problem finding it. I'll post it tomorrow. When I get to the websites, I'll post it tomorrow. Because I got some television work I got to do tomorrow. So while I'm doing that, I'll post it. Also, just go by his website, check it out. He's got tons of stuff there, all kind of stuff for sale. I don't know. Clara had asked me a little while ago, and I forgot to ask you. She wanted to know if you had any oil paintings for sale.
I've got probably 20 paintings here in the house, and these are the ones that my wife and I decided.
Okay, yeah.
The one I'm working on now, and the one I'm going to work on next are keepers. As far as me having a bunch of oil paintings for sale, not anymore.
Nah, you missed out. That's all I can tell y'all guys. I don't know. Maybe you can write to him and bribe him. If you give him enough money, he might help you out.
Maybe still on the Corvette. So
50 grand for his next painting. That's
big paintings, and I just it's a lot of work. I could do a smaller painting at a reasonable price, but at the reasonable price should still be $10,000.
You
wait. Say that, but I'm getting old. I'd like to paint for myself a while before I go.
So I reckon. So I've seen what she once done. We were watching this TV series out of Australia where they were showing you how to lease your house out. Well, in one of the houses, big huge mansion in the house, the woman had full size pictures of her nude laying down. Yeah, just different rooms.
Wow.
So she said, "This is what." So that's what you. All I can tell you is write to him. Go to LarryElmore.com. He's got an email there and write to him. That's all I can tell you. Well, we can't discuss that on the air because we don't even know you. So you just want to get naked for the man and let him paint you. That ain't going to be cheap. 50 grand is what I'm thinking. No. Well, no, I want a commission to make it 65 grand.
Right.
Wow. You should have called me up back then. I'd have stopped everything for that money. And
Larry knows what he's doing. Well, you want a good painter, you got to get a good artist. Actually, Denise, I might do that one day. So Echo Chernick's got what I call the bad girl set of pictures. I shouldn't say pictures, artwork.
yeah.
I'll have to have you all on together. We can do the naughty girls. Yes, we'll have to make it like R21 or something for that show. But it's if you want, I will set this up in the near future. I'll write to Larry and everybody else. But if you want to send in a picture of a dragon to get in this contest, you can. And well, no, the professionals aren't going to be judged. Theirs is just going to be worked so that y'all can see it, and it'll probably go up for something. But theirs is going to be more so you can just get an idea what you want to do. Yes. Anyway, we got to go, Larry. Thanks for hanging out with us tonight. You are always fabulous. Again, go to LarryElmore.com. Check all his artwork out there. We went through 9 pages tonight. So there's a lot of good stuff there. A lot more to go through. Just be sure to check him out. Again, if you really, 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 really want to meet him in person, all I can tell you is submit to writersofthefuture.com. If you win, you'll be flown out to LA and wine and dine. Well, not wine and dine, but I'm going to tell you a little secret, okay? You're going to work your ass off this week you're out there. I'm not going to lie to you. You're going to come away with a profound different understanding of both art and writing if that's what you're out there. I've watched all these people. I've watched like the double year. The first year I went was a double year after COVID. And I watched these people. They left profoundly different. They had a much better understanding, not just how art works or the concepts, but also in the financial ends and how you should maybe charting your life for a better. Well, yeah, because they give you an idea where you should start and how you should follow. And should you follow your heart? Should you follow the corporate? Should you, different strokes for different folks. But anyway, all that stuff's available out there. They would do just too much to learn to talk about. So you have to win. Go out and win. Like I said, it's 12 winners a year. 4 chances a year to do it. If you're talented, you'll get in there. There's some talented people. I'm not going to lie to y'all, though. There's a lot of talented people that submit. But there is a good side to this. Win, lose, or draw. A lot of times, if you don't make the cut, sometimes one of the judges will write back to you and give you suggestions on how you might have a better chance next time. Yes. Can you actually believe that? Or you might get a runner-up or something like that. And I'm just saying they want to see y'all win. They really want to see y'all win, and they want you to come meet him and talk to him.
Don't get frustrated and don't give up. Keep putting your artwork and your novels out there.
And I like that one more thing. I remember riding back to the airport to catch my flight home after it's over with, after the ceremonies and everything. And one of the girls, women, was riding back with me in a car, and she said she was one of the writer winners, and she was 62 years old, I guess. Mm-hmm. She said, I've been for a few years, not for 60 years, but a few years, she'd been submitting to the Writers of the Future, and so she was a winner, and she was tickled to death, and her book was going to be published in that big book, and then I hope that will help launch a career, and so I hope it will for her. But
I'll tell you this: at the very least, it gives you an extra boost of confidence you didn't have before. It also hooks you up with other writers and illustrators other winners that you can talk to. So a lot of these winners stay friends. I mean, I've talked to a lot of them. I talk to them off and on. A lot of the winners stay friends and they help each other out. So it's all I can say. If it's kind of an exclusive little club is what it is, where you can learn things that you'd have to go pay college to learn. I'm just being honest with y'all. A lot of the stuff that gets started, you have to take a course. Yeah. And it's so compressed. There's so much that goes on. It's just very compressed. Oh no, last year it was from like 8 a.m. to 8 p.m. Yes, nonstop. I don't know, probably change it up a little bit this year, but it was intense. But that's what you're there for. You got a week to learn everything they got to teach you. And besides, you know why I like to go, people? Because I'm hoping I'm meeting the next sci-fi writer or the next sci-fi illustrator. because I'm a big geeky sci-fi kind of guy. So I'm just hoping I'll get to say, hey, I knew that person. I got their autograph. But we really got to go, guys. Coming up next is Scott, whatever his name is. Scott, what is your damn name? Spaced Out Radio with Spaced Out Scott. Oh, shit. Man. Thank God I can't get fired, man. Thank God they can't fire
It's
my
your
ass.
station. How you gonna get fired?
That's what I'm saying. Thank God they can't fire me. But Michelle will give me help. Trust me on this. Anyway, guys and girls, Larry, again, thanks for coming in. Be sure to check him out on his websites and his Kickstarters. Give it a good kick there. Give a good
Thanks,
kick
Larry.
there. That's exactly the point.
Thank you. Thank you.
Jace, nice having you on. Nice. Anybody else? Listen, I hope y'all enjoyed the show tonight. I know we covered a lot of different topics in a lot of different areas. Again, if you want to talk to Larry, the best thing to go is go to his website and write to his email from there. On that note, ladies and gentlemen, I hope everyone has a wonderful, fabulous, spacious, great weekend. I'm going to be working on software all weekend, so that's my weekend. On that, good night and stay tuned for Spaced Out Radio. Whoa, 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 whoa.